Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Welcome back to Movie Mornings. I'm your host, Don Martino, and today we got a lot of topics to discuss. Also, some movie reviews coming at you. Abigail, Fall Guy, Challengers, Unfrosted. So we're going to be talking about those and giving our non-spoiler thoughts on those 4 films. We got some Star Wars stuff at the end of the show, as always. But sitting here with me today, as always, is Mr. Jose Espinel. How's it going, Jose?
I'm doing fantastic. Honestly, it's been a minute since we've been able
Yeah,
to, do one of these, and I'm just super excited to be doing another one of these.
for
I just
sure.
honestly I can't wait to get into, all the stuff that we've got for y'all today. We got some
Yeah,
good stuff.
I agree. No hiatus this time, folks. Just hard time scheduling up and syncing up schedules is all that was really happening. So, but we are back. We are going to stay on top of things, and here we go. Look, we saw some pretty good movies, some maybe not so good movies. I don't know. We'll see. But we're gonna get into all 4 of the movies that we saw now, and I would like to personally start with Abigail, seeing as I saw this one the furthest back. This is a horror film directed by Radio Silence, the 2 men that call themselves Radio Silence, who I am a huge fan of. I think that they bring a lot of freshness to horror. I loved Ready or Not. I love Scream 5 and Scream 6, which they directed as well. This one starring Melissa Barrera as well as Scream 5 and Scream 6. So I was happy to see them work with her again. Just interested to see what this film would be. It's a vampire themed film. Basically, the premise that you get in the trailer is what the movie is. These people, they kidnap a girl, have to hold her in this house, and then they find out she's a vampire, and then they're kind of stuck with her for the night. So that is the premise of the film. It also has like Catherine Newton and Angus Cloud and Kevin Durand and the one from Beauty and the Beast, Dan Stevens. So this has got a lot of really a really great cast, a lot of really great people in this film. This is one of those movies that, like I said at the beginning, what is pitched in the trailer is exactly what the film is. I personally got to say, I had a blast with this movie. I don't think that Radio Silence has slipped up at all with any of their 4 films. I think that this one is right on par with the rest of their films. So it was really, really neat to see that. I think that this is just so much fun, and it's very like funny and action packed at the same time. And also, I mean, there's 1 or 2, really good scares in there, but for the most part, it's just like fun, and that's what these guys do best. They just like to bring the fun to the horror. I loved it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely loved this movie. I didn't think that anything really slipped. I mean, if anything, I mean, there was maybe a little bit you could have trimmed for the beginning, and then maybe a little bit you could have trimmed out the ending of the 3rd act, but like other than that, like it was maybe just like a hair too long. And I would also say one of my favorite things about this is like Melissa Barrera. She carried this movie for me. I thought her performance was stellar as the lead in this, and she played a role that I haven't really seen her play before, which I really enjoyed. I'm glad she wasn't just mimicking the role of Sam from Scream. She was actually playing a mother character who had a lot of backstory going on for her that I won't give away here. But honestly, by the end of it, she's really the one that brings the heart to the film. The late great Angus Cloud is playing a character that's perfect for him in this film, I gotta say. Kevin Durand is amazing in this, like hilarious, and he was doing things that just, I was like, oh my gosh. And same for Dan Stevens. I mean, Dan Stevens is like perfect. He's more the edgy one, so he's kind of perfect for that role, and he's bringing a lot of life to it. And then Catherine Newton, I would say maybe had some of the more limited time in this film, but she honestly, for what she had, it was really good. Like honestly, she is just so perfectly cast. I thought this was just such a great ensemble piece on top of being like a really fun horror movie to go see in the theaters. But yeah, I can't recommend Abigail enough. Jose, you saw it. And that excites me. So I haven't heard your thoughts on it really yet. So what'd you think of it?
No, yeah, I thought it was a really good movie. I had a great time with it. Like you said, the casting was perfect. Honestly, like everyone played their roles perfectly. Like you said, Angus, this was just like his perfect character because obviously we all know him from Euphoria as
Yeah,
a druggie, and that's you know exactly what he played here. Rest in peace. Honestly, he will be missed. Melissa Barrera. I mean, I haven't seen the newest Scream, but from what I heard, fantastic stuff. And she was again, like I agree with you. She personally carried this. I
Yeah.
mean, she was absolutely incredible.
Her and the
Um,
relationship, the relationship between her and Abigail, I would say almost carry
yes,
it because
yeah,
like the little young gal that plays Abigail, woo, was so good. But yeah,
yeah. Alicia, yeah, no, she,
yeah,
I totally agree. Like her and Abigail, like the relationship that they grew together from, the start to the end of this was incredible.
yeah,
They both carried this, 100%. Kevin Durant, honestly,
yeah. Wow,
was
yeah,
like such a comic relief in this. He was
amazing.
so funny. Oh my god. And I
Also
like
coming up
how,
in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes too, so I'm so excited for that because
which,
he's in
yeah,
that. So which I know you saw
right.
already, but we'll talk about that
Yeah.
at a different time. Yeah,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
But yeah, no, man, just hilarious in this. The fact that they made him like put on that accent was,
Yeah.
I think, is what made it even funnier,
Oh my
honestly.
gosh, he was great. He was great.
Um, yeah, no, he was, and I mean, Dan Stevens, obviously, great character as well. He obviously something different, so because everyone knows him as the
Yeah.
Beast from Beauty and the Beast, so
Right.
something different from that. But it was
Yeah.
still,
Very different.
really cool. I enjoyed it a lot, and of course, how can we forget about Giancarlo Esposito's character?
Yeah, like
Um,
again, another one with like a little bit of limited time, but
yeah,
yeah, like still like it brought what he was supposed to, I think, in this
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the limited stuff that he did still had really good
I agree.
impact
Yeah, I
on
agree.
the overall movie.
Yeah.
Um, Catherine Newton, like you just said, she did have a limited role in this, but for what she did, it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's one scene in particular I don't want to get into because it's spoilers, but you might know what I'm talking about, where I think she was used the best out
Okay.
of all the scenes
I
that
I
she was in.
probably know what you're talking about. Yeah, I would say.
Because man, what a scene that was.
Yeah.
Man, it was just great, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was skeptical about this at first because it's classified as a horror, but upon watching it, it's not really horror. It's more of like a thriller
It's
type, like
fun. It's really fun
a
though.
fun,
Yeah.
it's like a fun thriller
Yeah.
with like the teensiest amount of horror.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I really did have a really good time with this, and yeah, I would honestly recommend this to everyone because it's just such a good, it's a fun watch. If you're a fan of any of these actors, or if you're a fan of all of them, I would recommend watching this because they just like the chemistry that they all had together was just like insane,
I'd
honestly. And like
also
you said, Radiohead did
Radio
incredible.
Silence.
Or
Yeah.
Radio Silence
Yeah.
did, yeah,
Yeah, they did a
incredible.
great job directing it. Those guys are great. I recommend their other projects if you haven't seen them yet. But honestly, the thing I would also point out is like they pay they pay homage definitely to other like horror things like and they don't exactly go like how you think they're gonna go because like there's a scene with Angus Cloud and Catherine Newton because it got flipped on its head. You think you know where it's going because it usually goes a certain way. I'm not gonna say the scene, but you probably know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
I know what you're
and
talking about. Yeah.
usually would go a certain way in horror movies, and because of the choice that the Catherine Newton character makes, it kind of goes a different way, and it's hilarious.
Hmm.
And there's another scene that's like it's literally an homage to Dumb and Dumber, something that happens to Angus Cloud's character. They make a joke. They literally pull a joke from Dumb and Dumber right there. It's hilarious, and that really made me laugh as well. And these guys, I'm telling you, they just got a handle on their, I guess, formula for how to make their movies. Because, like, again, this one to me didn't miss. I think it's right on par with their other three that I referenced toward the beginning of the review here. Because, yeah, it's genuinely just such a blast and so fun. There's one thing toward the end that I want to know if he can't spoil it, but man, okay, something happens toward the end. We kind of get introduced to a new character who's been referenced throughout the film, and it almost feels like it's just like tacked on to the ending. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this really doesn't work. But then there's a line that happens after that. And I'm like, because of that one little line, it's like 3 words worth of a line. I'm like, it made that whole thing work. And it was like incredible. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like that wouldn't have worked without that simple line that is said, like right there after the whole thing goes down. And it's this like thing that feels kind of tacked on where we get introduced to a character who feels shoehorned. And because of one line, it fixed my whole problem with that scene. So yeah, these guys, they just know what they're doing. And I love this movie, like genuinely loved it. And I'm gonna give it a must watch. Obviously, I really thought it was really good. really fun. So Jose, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna have to give it a must watch as well. Honestly, I'll probably be rewatching this movie a couple more times just because, again, it's in that horror category, but it's one of those that I can watch. So yeah, no, I'll definitely give it a must watch. It's a really good. I had a fantastic, like an amazing time with this movie. It was great.
Perfect, perfect. All right, guys, look, that's our review of Abigail. Let us know what you thought of the film. If you've seen it, are you gonna watch it based on our review, or were you interested already, or do you just not like Radio Silence's movies in general? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear it. Also, we got to see another film here, a few other films actually, to be more frank, and one of those other films is Unfrosted. Now, this is the latest film, first film ever, actually, directed by Jerry Seinfeld. I personally am a big Seinfeld fan. I love the sitcom. I think it's like one of those things that it's untoppable when it comes to sitcoms. Like, it's just next level comedy. And Jerry, as a comedian, yeah, I find him hilarious, like really hilarious. And so he decides to make this movie that's literally like based on the making of Pop Tarts, very loosely, obviously. And if you've seen the trailer, you know it's like very loosely based on the actual making of Pop Tarts. It's literally, to me, what Jerry Seinfeld does best. Like, he likes to take a bit and then just dissect it and dissect it and dissect it until it just becomes this, thing. And that's Jerry's comedy. So to me, like, this premise anyway was pretty perfect for him. Like, I got what he was going for in terms of the premise. So let's talk about the movie here. Look, I gotta say, I wasn't expecting much. It's a Pop Tart movie, and I had fun. I had fun watching it. Like, for what it is, I'm not saying that this is some comedy masterpiece. It's certainly not on the level of, like, the Seinfeld series, and not all the jokes land in this or anything like that. But I had a lot of fun with it. Like, it still made me laugh quite a bit. Like, I got what it was going for, and there's things that they're not going to be for everybody. There's definitely jokes in there that I think Jerry is trying to appeal to like a lot of different types of audience members, but on the same hand, not really caring if he pisses anybody off in this movie. And I think that's okay. I genuinely really just had fun watching it. I don't think there's any more to say about it than that. It's just fun to watch, and really made me laugh. I think that there are some really good, like, comedic performances within it. I mean, for example, I mean, like, I'm not calling like Jerry Seinfeld an Oscar-winning actor here or anything, but like, I thought he fit how the movie for what he was trying to do. And he's playing Seinfeld. I mean, what do you want? Like, that's the performance you're getting. Like, what you saw in Seinfeld is what you're getting here. It's Jerry. You're gonna get
Right.
Jerry. I thought Jim Gaffigan was endlessly hilarious as Jerry's boss in this. Like, I thought that, like, he was so stellar. One of the ones that, like, I thought, like, so okay, I gotta say, like, I thought Amy Schumer was actually pretty good in this. Like, I for what she was doing, like, I thought it was a different role for her. Like, she wasn't doing the same thing she's been doing, so that made me very happy. First and foremost, because, like, if you guys know anything about me and Amy Schumer, thought Trainwreck was amazing and she was amazing in it, and then I think she just went to shit after that. Like, personally, in terms of her filmography, like, it hasn't been very good. Uh, so yeah, I was very happy to see she wasn't doing the same shtick in this one. It was very different for her even. She's more of a villainous type role. I mean, without giving much away, I guess. And but I think what, like, even elevated her performance even more was Max Greenfield. I thought Max Greenfield was funnier than hell in this thing. Like, he was playing such a goofball role.
Huh.
For a sec, folks.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
Sorry about that. So Max Greenfield's basically playing like this, like, human punching bag in this thing, and I thought he just was fantastic at that. Like, I know it's like, seems like it might be an easy performance to hit, but there's something about the way he's doing it that just made it even better. So I thought that was really funny, and I thought Melissa, like, Jerry almost needed Melissa McCarthy in this because he needed somebody to play off of that kind of balanced sort of performance that is very stagnant, because that's Jerry. His performance is very stagnant, and I think without the Melissa McCarthy role there, that's really all you get is just stagnance in a
Right.
performance, and so you almost needed her there. So I was happy. It's almost like how Jerry needed George and Seinfeld. He almost needed the Melissa McCarthy role. So I think for that she played off of him really well. So I was happy to see that. And there are cameos like none other in this film. Like there's people are just gonna keep popping up. Jerry called all his buddies. It really does show the respect that this man has, amongst the world of people love Jerry, So I was really happy to see all the people pop up in this. Honestly, every time one of them does, I mean, there's some that I'm like, okay, that didn't work, and then others that I'm like, okay, yeah, that really worked for me. So, pretty stacked cast for the most part, and yeah, I just had fun. It's a Pop-Tart movie again. If you were expecting anything more than just what it is, then you're probably going to be disappointed. But I had fun. I'm not calling it the greatest thing in the world, but folks, we had a technical difficulty right in the middle of the show there. So if you saw a weird cut, that's why. And you heard a weird cut or something, that's the reason. Anyway, I had to switch over to my headset mic, unfortunately, but at least we had a backup plan. Anyway, Jose, want to know what you thought of the film? Go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, this is a Pop Tart movie, so wasn't really expecting much, but I was gonna watch it nonetheless because the trailer just was funny and it looked like a good time. And I mean, just looking at the cast for this movie, I mean, it's got like anyone and everyone. I mean, from Jerry Seinfeld to Hugh Grant to Max Greenfield, Peter Dinklage. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And honestly, I had a really, really good time with it. A lot of stuff that was funny. Other stuff, like you said, Dom, didn't land, but I mean, for the most part, it was funny. Amy Schumer, honestly, was very impressive to me. Her role in this, playing that more villainous role was really refreshing to see from her. Um, and I wanted to say with Max Greenfield, I mean, he kind of brought me back to the time when he played the character he had in the show New Girl. I thought it was you know, kind of compared to that in terms of how funny his character was, and like you said, how he's basically just like a human punching bag for Amy Schumer's character, which I thought was really funny.
Right.
Um, yeah, Jerry Seinfeld, I thought him and Melissa McCarthy were really good together in this. Their chemistry was really cool. Hugh Grant's character for me had a lot of. He was kind of like a comedic relief for me in a lot of ways. Thought his character was really funny.
Yeah.
Um, in a lot of the scenes. And yeah, like you said, cameo from like all different kinds of actors, which like you said shows how much people respect Jerry Seinfeld in his work and what he's done over the years that he's been an actor and director and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I had a good time with it. Um, it was a funny and refreshing way to see a very loosely based story in how Pop Tarts is made.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I honestly just had a really good time watching, how cereal companies would just fight over anything and everything. It's something as simple and childish as cereal,
For
you
sure.
know, and just breakfast in general. And so it was really cool, fun, and refreshing to see a newer take on that topic. Something as childish as cereal. I thought it was really cool.
I agree. Yeah, no, this was definitely a lot of fun, like I said, and it is what it is. It's not like the greatest comedy you'll ever see or anything, but it was fun. I mean, it's the war between Kellogg's and Post. Oh, by the way, some of the child actors in here too, some of the comedic performances from children in this
Oh,
film, they were utilized great. I must say. So oh, I could actually kick back with this thing on. I'm not used to that. Anyway, so yeah, so for sure, really just had fun with it. But yeah, for me, I would give it a might watch. I'm not gonna go like high on this. I thought it was just fun, just a fun movie, fun time. What'd you think, Jose?
yeah, I'd also give it a might watch. Just because it might not be everyone's cup of tea. Jerry
Yeah,
Seinfeld might not be everyone's cup of tea.
yeah,
But if you like Jerry Seinfeld and what his kind of comedy and what he does, and any of the other actors and actresses in this film, and you want to just have a fun laugh in a movie, pitting two cereal companies against each other, then you can watch it, kick back, eat a Pop Tart while you watch this Unfrosted movie,
Yeah.
and just have a good time with it. Honestly, so yeah, I'd give it a might watch.
Yeah, definitely a throwback to like Airplane and like Blazing Saddles and films like that, and more than anything else, and actually pretty good at that, more than most, I think. And but at the same time, like yeah, not every joke was even for me, even though I found a lot of them very funny and I laughed at a lot of the jokes and a lot of the humor that was being placed here. So yeah, might watch for sure. Let us know if you guys watched Unfrosted on Netflix. If what'd you think of it? If you did you have fun with it like we did? Or did you just hate it? Did you hate your life watching it? I mean, let us know in the comments below. Are you going to watch it? Be very curious to know, honestly. So, we saw a couple other movies lately, and yeah, I mean, we're going to start with one that I was actually anticipating quite a bit, or at least very curious about, which was Challengers, starring Zendaya, directed by Luca. Oh man, what's that guy's last name? Luca something. Luca.
Guadagnino.
Yeah, Luca Guadagnino. Yeah, directed this one. Italian filmmaker who I haven't seen everything of his. I have seen Call Me by Your Name, and wasn't a big fan of that myself. I know a lot of people loved it, but yeah. So he's been pretty much on the come up. I know a lot of people that loved his Suspiria remake and Bones and all. A lot of people liked as well. So I know he's definitely been on the come up, but this one starring Zendaya. It's a tennis film, basically. I mean, we're following Tashi, who's played by Zendaya throughout her career, as she kind of befriends, we'll just say befriends Mike Weiss, who plays Art in the film, and Josh O'Connor, who plays is it Frank?
Patrick.
Patrick Frank. Josh O'Connor plays Frank in the film, and it
You
really
said Frank
is
again.
this sort of
Patrick.
like I don't even want to say love triangle, but kind of between these three people. But also, I honestly think the better word here might even be friendship, or relationship between these three people. It's kind of a very complicated triangle that they have going on
Let's
for
let's
sure.
call it let's call it let's call it frenemies. How about that?
Frenemies. That's a really good way to put it. I like that. And
And you know why I use that term is because Zendaya was actually in a movie with Bella Thorne called Frenemies.
that's right. Anyway, never watched it. So yeah, a weird callback there. Anyway, yeah, that was like Zendaya Mach 1, so to speak. But this is
Those are shake it up days.
yeah, no, this is definitely Zendaya Mach 2 we're getting here. So, or Mach 3 maybe even, because
Mach
boy,
3,
does she
yeah.
step it up in this one. Look. I thought Zendaya's performance was phenomenal. I think that this is her best to date. I think in
I
terms
mean,
of
she
like
she carried.
blending into a role. She's always been so great lately, but blending into a role, she just like blended into this one the most. Like this is the role that I was watching where I most forgot I was watching Zendaya in a film. You know what I mean? And that's the thing I loved about her performance. Sorry about these other two guys, Mike Feist and Josh O'Connor in this film, because holy shit, what superstars these guys are. And I've seen Mike Feist in what was the movie West Side Story, the Steven Spielberg rendition of that, and he was so good in that, but not nearly to the point that he stood out
Yeah,
to me
no.
here. The chemistry between these two is just top notch. It's A plus, and I gotta say, honestly, this is like to me it made me recall, not that the movie is a copy of this, not by any stretch, but it did make me recall another Italian filmmaker, Martin Scorsese, when I was watching these two, because yeah, their performances and their chemistry and the way that they are together reminds me of watching young Harvey Keitel and young Robert De Niro in Mean Streets, in one of Scorsese's early films before they were anybody and they were very unknown. And I think that we're seeing maybe a repeat of that here. I do hope that these guys' careers take off, because damn, they are so
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I like that Zendaya lets them, even though she's the biggest star in the film, definitely lets them have the spotlight when need be. She's not, she's great in the movie, but she's not stealing the show away from these guys, right? And yeah, it really is, like Jose said, it's almost a story of frenemies, more than anything. And it's really interesting to see where their lives go, especially because this story is told in a very non-linear way, and you're kind of starting in one place and then you kind of get to another place and you're like, how did we end up there? But I also think the film did a really good job of like letting us know how we got to certain places. For myself, I would say I didn't necessarily like need all of the title cards that they put up, or not title cards so much, but like where they would put the text of the dates, like to let you know that hey, this happened then, this happened when. It's one of my things that it's like okay, I don't like when the movie treats audiences like morons. We could tell because of the hairstyles and things of that nature. I didn't mind them doing it once, but like after that, you can kind of like let that go. And I didn't really think it needed all of that for the nonlinear storytelling. Other than that, this is one of the best movies of the year, easily. Like if we're taking that one issue out of there, that's my only issue. I think this is one of the best films of the year. I thought Luca directed the hell out of this thing. Again, I thought the three performers were incredible. I think the score from Trent Reznor is insanely good. It's some of the best I've heard from Trent, honestly. It's utilized so well. It's very unique. Not that Trent's scores are never unique; they always are, but like definitely super unique here. And I think that the dynamics again is what makes it like. And I felt like this whole time I was watching this movie, I'm it felt like not only that I was observing the lives of these three people, but almost like I was invading them. And that's kind of what I really enjoyed about it. Like the film makes you feel like you're invading the lives of these three characters, Tashi, Art, and I keep wanting to call him Hank.
Patrick.
Patrick. Yeah, he doesn't look like a Hank. I don't know why I want to call him Hank, but he's he's awesome. Yeah. Josh O'Connor. Wow. He's the next De Niro as to Mike Feist's Harvey Keitel. I'm telling you, like it's insane these two what they were able to do. Um, yeah, man. I was blown away. I think the usage of shooting on film was very complimentary to this. I mean, that's obviously just big amongst a lot of Italian filmmakers anyway. It definitely speaks to my sensibilities as a viewer because I really do enjoy the look of the film. And I think that just helps us so much. There's a twist at the end that I thought was just so brilliantly played. I wouldn't even call it a twist, just like a reveal toward the end that like
Yeah, no,
it's
like
brilliantly
I,
played.
all the people that I've talked to were all like, yeah, dude, that reveal there at the end was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and this movie's great
although,
with
although
the
we I
yeah.
mean, we kind of knew what we kind of knew that reveal was coming in a sense because of a scene that happened kind of before then. At least I knew, or I was expecting that reveal to come at some point during
Yeah.
the third act. But still, when he did it, and to see Mike Feist, Art's reaction was, oh man, they're just too good,
Right, and I
honestly.
would say like this movie plays well with a crowd for multiple moments, but like there's that one in particular was amazing because the movie like it's not something you're gonna catch right away, and the movie gives you time to catch the reveal, and when everybody catches it all at one time, the collective gasp that comes into the theater is incredible. Like I loved watching this one with the crowd for that reason, and other reasons too. There are other moments that just are just incredible. Whether it's moments that make people laugh or just make people, just go whatever. If you're in awe of something or just it's incredible with the crowd, man. And I was so blown away by this entire movie, man. I was not expecting this movie to be this good. I thought it might be pretty good, and that's because Zendaya is kind of on a hot streak right now. But I didn't think it'd be this good. I mean, man, to me in my eyes, she owned March and April because of Dune and now this film. Like she
Yeah,
really
true.
is just killing it right now. Yeah, Dune and this movie are now like my top two movies of the year. Like I think that this is going to
For
be
now, yeah,
for now. This one's going to be a hard one to top. I'm not saying it won't be topped, but it was pretty damn awesome. I don't know, Jose. What'd you
it
think of
was.
Challengers?
Man, I guess we'll just start with the obvious. Zendaya is like, honestly, from what I'm seeing, she's like like the female chameleon of Hollywood right now.
Yeah,
Like the way that she just blends into any genre and any character, from her character in Dune to this character here in Challengers as Tashi Duncan. It just speaks volumes to how talented she is, honestly, and that she could play literally any role that's thrown her way. Um, Absolutely carried this film. but not too much to the point where Mike and Josh's characters didn't shine either. That they didn't shine either because they did for because Josh O'Connor I'd never really seen in anything, but obviously Mike I saw in but here they just like gave it their all. Like they just performed so amazingly in their chemistry with Zendaya. Like all three of them together, their chemistry was absolutely phenomenal, flawless from beginning to end. Uh, like you said, the score was incredible. But what I thought was even more impressive was the cinematography. Man,
Yeah.
like some of the shots were just like beautifully done. Honestly, like especially like in the third act, there was like certain shots on the tennis court that were just like
Yeah.
so impressive. Honestly, and
Oh yeah,
I,
they make tennis look cool in this movie.
yeah, they
There's a
do.
lot of this movie is like it's leaning on the relationships of the three main characters, but make no mistake about it, like the tennis is also such a huge element of it.
Yeah,
Like it is like they make it cool. Trust me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Like, honestly, for me right now, so far, this movie is gonna have to be probably like second best of the year so far.
Yeah.
Um, just because I wasn't, like you said, I wasn't expecting it to be like this good. I was
Right.
expecting it to be good,
Right.
obviously, because it's Zendaya. But I was just wasn't expecting. I was kind of skeptical because I'd never heard really of any of the other actors apart from Mike, and that was only really from West Side Story. So I was kind of skeptical about, the other people in it. I wasn't really scared about Zendaya, but man, did they really all just deliver. Like this movie was just so good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I had an amazing time. Like all the suspense and awe and gasp and all that stuff just together just worked and meshed so perfectly well in this movie. And honestly,
Agreed. And also just like
yeah, I just had such a great time.
yeah, going back to what you were saying about the shots too, because there's like a conversation between. Oop! Oh, there went Thrawn. There was a conversation between. He just fell. There was a conversation between Zendaya and Josh O'Connor in this film, and like just the way that even just a conversation is shot in this movie, it just makes all the difference, and it's
It
really
does.
incredible to see. Like you can see part of that conversation I'm talking about in the trailer, but until you see it, like I think this is such a theater film. I think people should go out and see it
Yeah.
because like it really does look great on the big screen and yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's great and it's almost like I would have been fine with the relationship aspects of this movie just on their own, like that was enough, but that extra sort of added layer of the tennis to it just makes it that much better. Like that's the extra mile that it runs to
Yeah.
make it one of the better
A
movies of the year
marathon. I'm
again.
just kidding.
No, no, for real, it really is, and you feel yeah, you're like, wow, I just wasn't expecting this to be as epic as it was, I guess in a way.
It was
And
yeah, it was honestly just like it was a roller coaster of a movie, man. It just had you on in ups and downs the entire time and kept you on the edge of your seat. Um, the conversations not even just between like Zendaya and Patrick or Zendaya and Art, but even the conversations between Art and Patrick were just like
right, yeah.
crazily like all the conversations that all three of them had, whether they were together or just separately, man, were just oh man, and even to me for some reason like looks speak more than even just words, and like a lot of the looks that they would give each other just like spoke volumes to me,
Yes.
especially the ones that like Tashi would give to Art and Patrick in this movie, man. It's just like oh my goodness, man, they just like spoke
Yeah.
louder than their actual
There's
words,
a
man.
lot
It
of
was just
yeah,
yeah.
great
It
facial
was
acting.
incredible.
Yeah, a lot of great
Yeah,
facial
oh my
acting.
goodness.
But on top of that, and I love facial acting. I love when it's pulled off well like it is here and it really is a lot of the time, but to even just add the fact that like the dialogue is great. Like it's very well written.
Oh yeah.
Like every
No,
scene
no,
of
yeah, no, no,
dialogue is so
yeah,
well
no,
done. Yeah.
yeah, no. Don't want to fault the dialogue, obviously, but just like the times when it was just like their facial reactions, it was like they were speaking. Like they didn't have to speak because their facial reactions just spoke in and of itself. So
Yeah.
all of it was just like I said, all of it was just incredible, and this movie was just such an amazing time, and I'm glad that I got to watch this in IMAX, because it just made the experience that much better.
Yeah.
And man, I'm gonna be rewatching this movie so many times,
Yeah.
honestly, because it's just so good.
And I mean the film's just super original, which is, that
Hmm.
yeah, kudos to it for just being different and going out
Yeah.
of its way to be different as well on top of everything else. Let me throw this out there too for anybody thinking about taking their kids to see this. This is a hard R. I have I there were kids in my screening. and this is a steamy movie, folks. Like, don't take your kids to this movie. This is not a kids movie. I'm just throwing it
That
out
is,
there.
you know, what's crazy is that that's the thing too is a lot of people were expecting this one to be a lot steamier than it actually was. Like it actually
Yeah,
wasn't that
it
steamy.
wasn't as steamy
Yeah,
as you might think it's gonna be, but I certainly wouldn't take a kid to it either. I
yeah,
mean,
no,
there
no, no. Yeah,
are,
still don't take yeah, still don't
yeah,
take your kids to it. But like me, and I know a bunch of other the
yeah,
people that I've talked to and stuff. Just based on the trailer, thought it was gonna be a lot steamier than it actually was.
yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely still not one to take your kids to for
I
sure,
would say
by no
the
means.
steaminess, so to speak, it's not that it's not as steamy as I thought it was gonna be. I was surprised of the areas in which the steaminess was let out, because the tennis almost becomes a parallel for it as well, if you know what I mean.
True. Yeah. No, for sure.
That's more or
Which I loved. I
less,
loved. I
yeah,
loved how they. I loved how they used that too. How the steaminess was like relative to the tennis as well, which I thought
creative
was incredibly
steaminess,
done.
not
Honestly, yeah,
explicit, but
yeah,
creatively
yeah. No,
placed.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, 100%. That is like, and that's the thing about it. That's what makes it good. Is like you get this. There's a very steamy scene in here. You guys have seen it in the trailers. It plays like it's important. Like everything that happens is still important to what leads into this ending. Like it's not just there to be there. You know, like it's not
Right.
just sex for the sake of sex. You know what I mean? Like it
Right.
goes in, it all plays into something, you know what I mean, and it all leads to
Right.
something, and it's there for character development 100%, and story growth
Right.
and all these other things, you know. So I was just so impressed with all the layers that were able to be piled on in this movie, and yeah, I mean, I gotta say, man, this one's like at the highest end of must watch that I can give it. That's my grade. I honestly 100%. I mean, Jose, where are you going?
Yeah. No. No. I mean, I'd have to agree. It is definitely at the highest
Yeah,
possible must watch. I mean, if you haven't seen this, what are you doing with your life? Go out and watch this in theaters before it's out of theaters, because this is quite literally a theater movie. Like
yeah,
if watch it at least once in the theaters. Like I understand, times are tough and tickets are expensive, but at least go and watch it once in theaters, because if not, then you're just gonna miss out on an opportunity of a lifetime. Because, like we've said, this movie is a theater movie, and it's just a completely different experience when you watch it in the theaters.
agreed,
Honestly, so
agreed.
it's like with the Dune movies. Like those are theater movies, and you need to at least watch them once in theaters before they're out of theaters, because they're just theater movies. And yeah, honestly, just go out and watch this if you haven't already.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. Good review there, Jose. Thank you. But yeah, no, for sure, guys. Everything he just said there, I second, and make sure you do go check this one out in the movie theater. It's definitely built for the cinema. I really, really just enjoyed it myself, and yeah, I hope you guys all go watch it, because again, it's an original film, and definitely check it out if you're over 18 years old. Anyway, yeah, but for sure. Let's get into our last review here. So we both saw The Fall Guy. This one stars Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. You remember The Fall Guy from the 80s there, Jose, with the Lee Majors, or was that before your time? No, probably before your time. Okay. Uh,
um, I mean, 80. Come on, 80s. Really? You think that's my time?
yeah, 100%. Anyway, yeah. So it's not my time either, but
Dang.
I know of The Fall Guy with Lee Majors. Anyway,
Oh.
so yeah, it's The Fall Guy, and I'm gonna say this though, it is like, so, you know, theoretically, it's based on The Fall Guy with Lee Majors. You know, the name is Colt Seavers of both Lee Majors and Ryan Gosling. I mean, they kept the name and everything, but this premise is completely different. Other than the fact that yes, it's a guy who, you know, he's a stuntman. You know what I mean? But in this case, he's a stuntman for a movie. In the beginning of the film, I won't give much away. They clearly don't want me to give this away because it's not prevalent in the trailers, but something happens that changes his life in the beginning, and it's really hard for him to be a stuntman moving forward. So he wants to get back into it, and the only thing that really does get him back into it is Emily Blunt's character, who is directing a film. She plays a director in the film, and he has taken a liking to her and I guess you could say that everything just fell. She is taking a liking to him as well. So yeah, those two have a really interesting dynamic and relationship in this film, and basically she's like his love interest. This movie's very much like an action movie and love story. Jose, I'm gonna fix my background if you don't mind taking it away. What'd you think of the Fall
Yeah, of
Guy?
course. Yeah. So, uh, really cool movie. I had a really good time with it. Obviously, like you said, it's an action rom-com almost because it's action. There's comedy in it. Not really that much, but there is some. And of course, it's a romance. It's an action romance movie. I really enjoyed Ryan Gosling, and Emily Blunt's characters in this. They played very well together. Their chemistry is phenomenal through the roof. Aaron Taylor Johnson, obviously as Tom Ryder, was in the limited time that he was in this served a pretty good purpose in the movie. Was he kind of okay? Yeah, I mean, again, he was pretty limited in this, but what he did do in this, it served purpose to the movie. Um, Throughout, Winston Duke was really cool. I really liked him. He obviously playing a stunt coordinator to Colt Seavers. Was really funny. Obviously, you know him from Black Panther. Completely different character in this movie.
Yeah.
David Leitch obviously directing it. He did incredible, I think, with this. Obviously, paying homage to stuntmen. You know, all the stuff that they had to put themselves through professionally. They don't really get the praise that they really deserve because there's no Oscar awards for them, which is kind of it's crazy that we don't really give the credit where credit is due.
Well, yeah, and let's touch on the
But
fact too that this was directed by David Leitch, who was a stuntman. And
true.
he's directed quite a few films now at this point. He's definitely built himself a nice little filmography. Most of his stuff has been received pretty well as a director, but yeah, this was definitely, I guess, a more personal film to him. I feel because of is kind of a love
Yeah.
letter to stuntmen. So,
I mean, yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, if you guys do watch this, I would just say this to preface right now is stay for the credits, because they do pay even more homage to stuntmen in the credits.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just to put it out there, so you don't miss that, because obviously there are no, mid or post. Well, there is actually some mid credit scene, but you can at least stay for the credits because they pay really cool homage to the stuntmen of this movie, actually.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
no, for
no,
sure.
for
So,
sure.
for me, like I rolled up to my local drive-in last week to watch this one, and was pretty stoked because it really is for me anyway, like the start of the summer movie season. Seeing as it came out in May, and I was craving a summer blockbuster, especially because if you look at our release catalog for the summer, it's like it feels like a summer movie season more than it has for a long time.
Oh my goodness, there's just so many
Yeah,
movies.
yeah, and like releases that are like I'm anticipating actually. So it really feels like a more of a summer movie season again than I felt for a long time. But what I love more than anything is a summer movie that's mainly original, and this one is for the most part, other than the fact again it's just named The Fall Guy like the show, and his name's Colt Seavers. Everything else is pretty much original about it. I mean, I would call this a very original movie, and man, I had a blast with this movie. I thought that this one was a lot of fun too, and I thought Gosling was awesome. I love the dynamic between him and Emily Blunt. One of the things that I really enjoyed that David Leitch decided to include was how much like Emily Blunt, the pressure that was put on her, as a director too. So while it was a love letter to stuntmen, it showed the pressures of being a filmmaker as well on her side of the character. So these characters were both very well fleshed out. There are very like dialogue heavy scenes. I was happy with that. Like even though there's a lot of action in this movie, there's a lot of dialogue heavy stuff too. It wasn't
Hmm.
just a throwaway action movie. You know what I mean? And the opening I thought was very strong. I would actually say the first like half hour of it is the strongest of the film. Um, I do think I will say in the middle section of it, I do think that it gets muddled a little bit. What I was personally missing from the middle section was the uh, mainly the interactions between our two main characters. I love me some Stephanie Shu, but I didn't think she needed to be in this movie personally. Not the way she was utilized. So that whole, I think the whole storyline between her and the dog and him, and Colt and all that, like, did not need to really be a big part of it. I think that you definitely needed an action scene there. Don't get me wrong. I think that that was the right move for the middle section where there's a big action scene. Perfectly right move. I enjoyed the action of it. I just wish what the dynamics of the characters there were just a little bit better. So that was one of my gripes with the film, so to speak. I did think it was a little long too. I won't lie to you, just a little bit. But other than that, like once you kind of weave your way back into Emily Blunt and everything going on with her, I think it does start to get a lot better. I do think the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt is a lot of what makes it. So for me, again, anytime that they were separated in the film, it just didn't work. But I did enjoy the two of them together. I enjoyed the storyline. Again, I appreciate that it's an original movie. I love the way it all wraps up. I personally loved Aaron Taylor Johnson in this. I thought he was great. Personally, I thought he was very entertaining. There's something that happens at the end that I won't give away that I don't think anybody was expecting. Speaking of his character, um, which was really, really wild and a big sequence that, again, I just don't think a lot of people are going to expect going into this. But yes, I thought that this was a really fun
Yeah.
summer blockbuster, kind of the thing I was looking for from a summer blockbuster. So yeah, a lot of fun with this one. Really enjoyed it.
I
Some
just
fun
wanted to
action.
add,
Yeah, go ahead.
really liked the cinematography in this because
Yeah,
man, the
shot
shots were
well.
just incredible, and I love how this was like we're watching a movie within a movie. You know what I mean? It's like we're watching a movie
Yeah.
about them making a movie. It was like a movieception. Like it was crazy. I really liked it. The music was awesome as well. You know, the song choices and stuff that they decided to go with was really cool. Also wanted to go ahead and you know, say that it's really cool that they broke a record in this movie, a Guinness World Record for most stunt flips. I thought that was pretty cool that that happened in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that was really cool. Congrats to them for doing that. I thought I would,
Very
put that
awesome.
out there.
Very awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very, very, very awesome.
And the scene in question is very cool to watch. It's
Oh yeah, for
it's
sure.
really neat,
Yeah,
and the purpose of it is really neat. I like the way they integrated that entirely.
yeah.
Yeah, no, man, I thought that this was perfect for the drive-in. You know what I mean? It was a perfect drive-in movie. Being
And I also
outside
got to
while
watch
watching it
this.
was cool.
I got to watch it in IMAX as well, which was a really cool experience. It made like the everything just so much better.
Mm,
The music and the action and all the explosions and all that stuff just like so much better, honestly.
yeah.
It was just like it was like I was in it was like I was in that movie with them. I was like in all the scenes with them and like there with them when everything was happening. It honestly added to it a lot, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I had fun with this one, guys. I would give this on honestly a must watch. Even if it's a little bit of the lower end of the must watch because I did have issues, but like it's still that much fun. Like by the end of the movie, I enjoyed where it all kind of went, and I enjoyed the originality of it, and I loved the fun of it. Like I had a blast watching it. It was a great summer blockbuster. It is exactly what you're looking for from a summer blockbuster, but also again, not really entirely based on anything, even though again the name the Fall Guy. They probably shouldn't have called it that. They probably should have went with something else because for the most part the film's just original through and through. But I get how Hollywood works and they like to bank off of old IP anytime they can. So whatever, if they're gonna make a movie about a stuntman, might as well make it Colt Seaver's the Fall Guy, I guess. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, no. Oh, by the way, also Hannah Waddingham in this movie was pretty good as well. She plays pretty much the person that
Oh
sends
yeah, the
Ryan Gosling on his
yeah,
path in this. I thought she did a very nice
yeah.
job. Anyway,
No,
sorry.
for sure.
Go ahead, Jose. What grade do you give this one?
I would definitely give this a must watch. I again, I had a great time with it. I think you guys will as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Gosling and Blunt alone, that kind of star power will bring in so many people, and they're both just incredible actors and actor and actress, and I really do think that everyone will have a great time with this again because of its originality. It has action, it has romance, meshed together. So it's for everyone, and I think everyone will have a great time with it for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, look, that is our thoughts on the Fall Guy. Let us know if you guys are planning to watch it. I really hope that you do. And if you have seen it, what did you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments below. But that is our review of the Fall Guy. Now we're gonna get to some stories, and our first story actually has to do with the Fall Guy. So let's go ahead and talk some box office. Let's take a look at this really quick. All right, so box office: Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt's The Fall Guy stumbles with a 28.5 million May opening. When Universal decided to jump on the first weekend of May, a slot normally taken up by Marvel's popular superhero movies, they were hoping the combo of Barbenheimer stars Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt would make The Fall Guy a huge early summer hit. That's not what happened. Read on for the weekend box office report. Going into the weekend, The Fall Guy had everything going for it, from two of the biggest Oscar-nominated stars of 2023's biggest blockbusters, one who recently hosted Saturday Night Live, to great success. Plus, reviews had been going great back to its premiere at the South by Southwest Film and TV Festival. Universal even screened the movie for exhibitors, i.e., theater owners, at the annual CinemaCon to get excitement going for the start of the summer movie season. On Friday, Universal opened The Fall Guy nationwide into 4,002 theaters, another indicator that many were expecting a huge hit, as is often the case with the early May releases. Instead, it only made 3.2 million in Thursday and earlier previews, which added up to just under 10.5 million for its opening day, and it then ended up making an estimated 28.5 million for the weekend, which is well on the lower end of most predictions. All right, look, guys, I mean, I'm guilty of this, but I got to know, why the hell did you guys not go see this movie? Like, I want people to comment this. Like, you heard the amazing buzz. It's got two of our biggest movie stars right now, and everybody's hot on Ryan Gosling. People loved Emily Blunt and Oppenheimer, right? The
And people loved Ryan Gosling in Barbie, so
early reviews were great, and then even after the weekend or after the opening night, the audiences were saying great things. So you think word of mouth would have spread? And Jose and I just both said great things about it now, so we could vouch for it. What the hell? Look, I'm looking at the story. Like, how does something like this flop this bad? 28.5 million is pretty
I mean
bad
it.
for a movie like this.
Yeah, it's already up to 70 million right now,
Yeah,
but still, I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
I'm curious. Like, there's no explanation for this, in my opinion. Like, I don't know why people didn't show up for this one. I don't know if everybody's just saving money for Planet of the Apes or Furiosa or something. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But like,
Or Deadpool Wolverine.
I'm not saying everybody needed to go see this, but I was expecting a lot bigger than 28.5. I got to be honest. For the opening weekend, I mean, this is bad for this. And it really sucks because I don't want to hear where are the original movies anymore. Even though this has an IP in the name, it's original. Like, the story is very original. Go see it. I'm not kidding. I don't want to hear it next time. Why doesn't Hollywood make original movies? Because you don't go see them when they do. You know, they do make them. You just don't go. And this is
True.
proof. Gosh, it's an irritating thing. It's a pet peeve of mine because that is something people tell me all the time because I'm such a movie lover. Why doesn't Hollywood make original movies anymore? They do. They're there. You don't go. You don't go when they're there. This movie had a huge marketing campaign, and you could tell by the trailer that this isn't the
I
Fall
mean,
Guy from the 80s. Like, it's pretty obvious. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is its own original direction with the Fall Guy. Like, you should have seen this trailer and been interested. Like, everything about the trailer was great to me. Like, everything was working.
for sure.
I don't understand. I genuinely don't. Do you have any theories, Jose, on why this thing tanked so bad? Despite the great
Um,
critical and audience reception and the great trailers and marketing, and yeah, anyway, go ahead, Jose.
uh, no, honestly, I like this. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around how this is tanked so bad, even though you know the trailers were received greatly, the audience, early reviews are great and everything. I don't get why. this movie hasn't made more. It still baffles me, especially with two big actors like Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Like I'm at a loss for words. I honestly don't understand why this movie has done this bad. I really
Yeah,
don't. I mean, maybe it is because people are trying to save money for other bigger movies like
yeah,
Deadpool, Wolverine, and Furiosa, and all those other bigger movies coming out. But yeah, I guess that's the only explanation really, is that they're just trying to save for these bigger summer blockbusters that are coming out.
yeah,
I feel like I feel like all these people are trying to save. They think that Marvel is going to be able to save the MCU with Deadpool, Wolverine, and they're just saving for that
yeah,
because they're hopeful. I
yeah.
think that's what it is.
Now, to be fair, like this happened last year with Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like where the critic reception, audience reception was great, but the movie tanked.
Oh yeah, I loved that movie so
Yeah,
much.
and I'm guilty of not going to see it. Granted, it's a little different because that idea was a lot less original than what this is, but still, like I'm guilty of doing
Weird
it.
because I mean this movie is literally based on a game, so it's like it's not original because it's taken
Right,
from the
right,
idea of a game.
right.
So
So to
there's not you can't go original with this because there is no it's based on a game, so it
But
is different.
I'm
Yes,
saying like every year though we just seem to get one of these where it's like everything's going well for it. Like everything is pointing in the right direction, as far as like, it should be getting seen and it doesn't. And unfortunately this year was Fall Guy because again, and I think again, like we were saying about the movie, it's such a great message, like it's such a great love letter to stuntmen, you know what I mean? And it's
for
just like
sure. Yeah,
literally on top of that, it's delivering one hell of a good time, at the movies.
for
Like
sure.
it's built for the movie theater, So it sucks when that happens. You know what I mean? You can watch it at home, but I think it's built for the theater again, and I think that that's the way you should watch it, and I think you'll have a good time with it. Again, these actors did an incredible job. The stuntmen did an incredible job working on this film, because the stunts are great. David Leitch directed the hell out of it, being a stuntman himself, and it just it saddens me to hear something like this, honestly. Like I don't know what to attribute it to. That was the only theory I had, is people saving for other movies, but we'll see how Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Furiosa pan out, and kind of go from there. But yeah, 28.5 million definitely baffled me. I can honestly say that. Um, Not to mention their challengers, but other than that, there wasn't really anything else that was going up against, like challengers and Phantom Menace. I mean, you didn't really have like a ton of things. Um, yeah, you know what I mean. Like there wasn't like a ton there to, um, yeah, put it up against. So it shocks me even more for that. So anyway, but yeah, sadly, that the movie tanked. So we do have another story here that I would like to get to that is kind of older, but you and I have not had a chance to get into this yet. So I definitely wanted to hear your thoughts on it. Quentin Tarantino scraps film The Movie Critic, which would have been his last film.
Oh yeah, I
Quentin
did read about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Quentin Tarantino will no longer be making The Movie Critic, the film previously said would be the last of as a director. Variety confirmed Wednesday that the director had passed on the project, which would have been his 10th film, and revealed that sources said he wouldn't be rewriting the project either. Back in February, Brad Pitt had been supposedly tapped for the movie. The collaboration would have reconnected the actor-director duo after working together in 2009's *Inglourious Bastards* and 2019's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Movie Critic was reportedly set in 1977 and followed a movie critic who wrote reviews for a porn magazine. It was rumored Pitt would have reprised a version of his role as Cliff Booth from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, per Variety. At Cannes last year, Tarantino refused to answer questions about the film, but said, I can't tell you guys anything until you see the movie," which is usual with Tarantino. I'm tempted to do some of the characters' monologues right now, but I'm not going to. Maybe if there were less video cameras, you will just have to wait and see. Variety had also reported last September that Tarantino had gotten a 20.2 million subsidy from California for the film, which was identified as number 10, referring to the director's 10th movie. "I love shooting in California," Tarantino said in a statement at the time. "I started directing movies here, and it is only fitting that I shoot my final motion picture in the cinema capital of the world. There is nothing like shooting in my hometown. The crews are the best I have ever worked with, and the locations are amazing. The producers and I are thrilled to be making number 10 in number 10 in Los Angeles. It's unclear if he'll use the approved subsidy for a different film. Anyway, so yeah, there's kind of a little bit to dig into there because, I don't know if Tarantino's ever done this before where he scrapped a project. But then again, media is, different now, the way that we consume it as far as the movie news cycle, so a lot more people are breaking into stories. Perhaps earlier in his career he did probably face a similar thing where he was in the middle of something and just decided, nah, I don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, I mean, I would say, he's got one of two options now. If he's gonna go with this 10 film thing, as he's always said about his career, he wanted to do 10 films and then get out. You could either just say, you know what, I decided Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 is now considered to be two films, and so technically I have done 10, I'm done. He could do that if he wants to. I don't know. Maybe he can make that Star Trek movie finally for his 10th and final film. I don't think that's the route he'll go. But, maybe he does want to revisit Star Trek. Who knows? I'm interested in seeing it, that's for sure. Especially if it's from Tarantino. I want to know what that looks like. And then, also at the end of the day, my personal hope is that he just writes a different 10th movie. And I think we'll be none the wiser, honestly, if he just does that, if he goes with a different project. Because for me, it's like, yeah, he's still going to get a stacked cast for this. Regardless of which direction he wants to go, the cast is going to be huge.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it'll be a massive, massive movie, regardless of what he wants to do. So I don't like read this story and go, it's a travesty, because like, how many details outside of some of the rumored casting did we really know about the film anyway and its premise? Not enough
Yeah,
to
no.
really get me excited at that point. I'm just excited for whatever he wants to do, So as long as he makes one more, I still want one more Tarantino movie. I don't want him to pull, hey, look, Kill Bill's now two films. I decided
Yeah.
I consider it to be two movies now, and then he's done. I don't want him to do that and cop out of it. I still want that final Tarantino movie, but I don't look at this as being like a major deal again, because like I think that he's going to just make another original Tarantino film. It'll be just as interesting, if not more, as the movie critic was going to be. But, it is interesting because there will always be this lingering curiosity of what this film would have looked like. And hopefully, because he doesn't want to do some more writing when he's done making movies, we see it in a novel someday, or something along those lines. I'm sure that we will, actually. I feel that we will learn about what this idea was and why it didn't pan out, probably closer to the time that he's releasing an actual 10th movie. But I will say it, and Tarantino's always spent quite a few bit of time between his, movies that he's directed, but this one does seem to be taking a little longer. I must say, but I understand it too, because it's the last one he wants to get it exactly right. I don't know, Jose, what do you think on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he's gonna do the cop out and say Kill Bill is two movies and then be done,
Yeah,
because he definitely wants to end his life as a director with an absolute banger and a masterpiece of a movie. Um, and like you said, I mean, I didn't really have any attachment to this movie critic film that was his idea, so it's not sad to see it go. I think
right.
the reason why he did that is because he didn't think that this one is going to be good enough to be his 10th and final film.
Y-
Um,
yeah,
and so I'm just more excited to see what his final film is going to be. Who's going to be in the casting? I mean, I know it's going to be a star-studded cast because he always has just like the best cast for his movies. Um, and I do agree with you. I do think that Movie Critic at some point could become a novel book that we can read. Um, because ideas that don't become movies at some point either become a TV show or a book. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. More times books, really. Ideas that don't become movies become books. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime down the line, maybe after his 10th film comes out, he, decides to revisit that movie critic idea and write it into a book
Yeah.
and release that, which would be really cool and interesting to read. Um, but yeah, I don't see this as a sad thing, seeing this
No.
idea kind of go from being a movie, because again, we didn't really have much attachment to it, but I'm just really
Right.
more excited to find out, the title for this his 10th and final movie, what it's going to be about, the casting he's going to get on, all that kind of stuff is what I'm just really super excited to find out, honestly.
And
And again, I
maybe,
agree with you. I do think it takes time for,
yeah.
especially if you want, for your final film ever as a director, you want it to be, perfect, picture perfect in every single way. So it's understandable that he's taking his sweet time with it, because it is going to be his last directorial movie. So
Yeah.
it's understandable, and I just honestly want him to take as much time as he needs before he stops directing, because it needs to just be like the best,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. And I also, I almost got to wonder, maybe this thing comes quicker than we think, because maybe he's going back to a script that he already read and revising that, or
True.
wrote, I mean, and revising an old script. Maybe he decided,
True.
hey, my
True.
heart's
True.
really over there, and that's where I want to go with my last film. I decided that's the last movie I actually do want to make, and it could be a past script that he already wrote that he just maybe needs to revise and get a final draft for, or something along those lines, right? So, yeah. So I mean, there's multiple things here, or we could be waiting like another 10 years. Who knows? I hope not, but I would imagine, if he stepped away from this one, that he already kind of has a little bit of an idea of where he wants to go with the next idea. You know what I mean? If he stepped away from this
Right.
idea, it's because his heart was pulling him in a different direction, and he probably knows what that direction is, I would reckon. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say he'll get this thing written within the next year or so, and we'll probably hear a little bit more then. That would be my guess. Whatever this idea is, he'll flesh it out within the next year. But if he needs 2 years, then so be it. If he needs 3 years, so be it. Or 5 or 6,
He's 5 years. Yeah.
yeah.
So be it.
That is what it is. There's nothing we could do about it. We got 9 other great
Yeah.
films of his we could revisit in the meantime if we're craving some
Yep.
Tarantino. So, yeah.
Very true.
So that's what it is. All right, last story before we get into our final segment of the day. So there's a lot to talk about there, but we'll get there. So let's take a look at this final story. Jose, I definitely want to get your take on this one. So let's take a look at this. Mike Flanagan in talks to direct the next Exorcist movie for Blumhouse and
Oh.
Universal. Renowned genre filmmaker Mike Flanagan, The Life of Chuck, is in talks to direct the next Exorcist film for Blumhouse and Universal Pictures. Sources have confirmed to Deadline. Uni and Blumhouse declined to comment. Should a deal make? Flanagan would take back. Should a deal make? Okay. Should a deal make? Flanagan would take over the reins from David Gordon Green, who exited the rebooted franchise back in January. Universal and Blumhouse bought the rights to The Exorcist from Morgan Creek back in July 2021 for $400 million. That's important there, folks. And while the plan at that point was for at least 3 new films to be made, it's unclear whether Flanagan would be on for more than one. So I have a take here. So there he goes again. I have a take here. We're gonna talk about this is what I think. So look, David Gordon Green's Exorcist Believer comes out. It's not the worst Exorcist film ever made, but it is definitely the second worst Exorcist movie ever made. Right under Exorcist 2 for me. I was not a fan of it. I'm a fan of David Gordon Green's, and then he parts ways right with Blumhouse and decides not to make another one. So look, I mean, I'm gonna say like I I don't know who can actually make a good Exorcist that stands up with that original, unless it's Denis Villeneuve. That's like that'd be my pick if personally, but he'll never do it. That's the problem. He won't do it for what Blumhouse would want to pay him for it. I guarantee it. And also, yeah, you need somebody on that level though who's like really willing to go somewhere risky with it, like genuinely risky. And when you look at that original movie, what makes it such a masterpiece till this day, uh, what makes it a masterpiece is the fact that it's is the fact that it's For the audio listeners, Jose's kissing his cross over there, his crucifix. Anyway, so for yeah, what makes that movie such a masterpiece is it's not done like a generic horror blockbuster. Like it feels like its own like independent thing. Like it really does. It feels like its own direction, and it's done more a little bit more on the artsier side. It's really just a masterpiece, and it's hard to touch. Again, the closest that they've come was with The Exorcist 3, and even that's it doesn't really hold a candle to the original, but it's good, it's watchable. I don't know, man. I look once David Gordon Green left, I'll be honest, and I'm a fan of his, but the thing I said is I don't want Mike Flanagan. And then here we are. It feels like a very predictable move. I'm not personally into it, but on the business end of it, I do understand why they chose his name because he is pretty hot right now in horror. Again, I have enjoyed his movies personally. I haven't really seen a lot of his TV stuff, but I know it's a hit. I don't see him for The Exorcist, but I hope that he does a good job and surprises me. Jose, I know you won't be paying to see the film, but what do you think of the move from Blumhouse here, going from Gordon Green to Flanagan?
Um, uh, uh, I don't know. I don't know because I haven't seen any of Mike Flanagan's stuff.
Okay,
So I couldn't really say. I mean, I've heard of stuff from Doctor Sleep.
yeah,
Um, well, I guess the one thing I have seen from him, which I was kind of forced to watch, was his Ouija movie,
okay,
which I
which I
absolutely,
liked, by the way.
which I absolutely hated and had nightmares of it when I got home. So, if my parents, if you're watching, I hate you guys, um, because they forced me to go watch it with them.
Interesting.
Um, so yeah, no, I absolutely hated that movie because it gave me nightmares. But I mean, I can see where people like it. So I haven't seen any of his like newer stuff, so I couldn't really give an opinion.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know. If his new stuff isn't that good, then I guess I don't see how this is a good move because I mean the last two, especially the last one from what I heard was from when I worked at
yeah,
AMC, the people that came out told me that the Believer one was absolute trash. Um,
right.
and I didn't really hear any good things about two either. Um,
Two.
so I mean, Exorcist two.
Oh yeah, no, it
Isn't
sucks.
there?
It's
Yeah,
terrible. Yeah,
isn't yeah,
Exorcist 2 is
yeah,
terrible.
yeah,
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 that
yeah.
nobody talks about that anymore.
Yeah, so I mean, if Mike Flanagan, like, if recently he hasn't really been doing like great stuff with his horror, unless he's hot with horror, I don't know. It could be a good move. I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe it's a good move. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, he's like he
Um,
is like one of the hottest names in horror right now. Like all of his stuff is supposedly good. So like and
actually, I guess it's an obvious move, but I don't
that's
know.
my issue with it. It feels more obvious and not like the risk that I think you should take to hold up to the original movie. You need a really
the thing
risky
is that
director.
it could be. I mean, it could be better than, which is not too hard to do. Better than Exorcist Believer. It's not really too
Yeah,
hard to
and it might
top.
be, but that's not. Man, I guess because that film holds a special place in my heart. It's like it's really hard
In
for
your
me
heart.
to. It's really hard. The original film. It's really hard for me to. Yeah, like imagine anybody doing it. Like I think you need to go outside of the box on this and like really find somebody who could take a risk. I mean,
Who then? Drop a name.
I said Denis Villeneuve. I think he'd be perfect.
Yeah, but he's not gonna do it. So
No, I know. That's what I said. I said unless you have that news, I'm not going to be very excited. But I'll check it out. I'll see where he goes. I think what they're probably going to do too is say, "Here, Mike, do what you want with it." Like just make it better than Believer.
100%.
That's my guess as to what they're gonna do, and that's fine. I mean, I hope that he really does come up with something incredible here because this franchise is like dying, and the last one tanked or made a little money off. I think based on its low budget, but they also, according to this article, paid 400 million for the rights. So you got to make that back
Boy.
somehow. You know what I mean? So yeah, like it didn't make enough to like justify the $400 million investment just to get the rights. So you're gonna have to do something really, really good here, or just sell it or whatever you can do with it. I don't know, because it seems to be dying down, and again, and it's really hard to hold a candle to that original film for most fans. So it's not going to be an easy task, but man, I hope they can do it. That's the best thing I can say. All right, all right. Well, look, let's get into our final segment of the day, regardless. And that segment is Sup with Star
Some
Wars.
Star
And
Wars.
yeah, quite a few things are up with Star Wars right now. Honestly,
Yeah.
May 4th just passed, and very excited to talk about all of the things that kind of came out of that. But I was going to talk about my Pittsburgh experience this week, but we'll save it till next week because we're already kind of stacked today with stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm oh man, I got to hold in Pittsburgh just a little bit more. I had a really incredible experience out there, but yeah, look. Other than that, so let's go ahead and talk about this. Yeah, let's talk about these stories here that are happening. The first thing is probably to me, the biggest thing that happened is we had the Acolyte trailer, new trailer dropped for the Acolyte. And
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted to do today, Jose, is run through this thing really quick and break it down with you a little bit. I'm assuming you
Sure
have
thing.
seen the
Let's
new
go.
trailer.
I have,
All
yes.
right, so also as a
I believe this trailer was actually played during the Phantom Menace's 25th, if I'm not
part
mistaken.
of it. They pretty
Yeah.
much showed us a really long clip of the acolytes, and then part of this trailer.
Well, yeah, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and just play the trailer really quick, and then we'll break it down. We'll go shot by shot a little bit more closely and talk about it. So here we go.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Jedi are being hunted.
She was my student. I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
I sense this is only a small part of a larger plan. Some sort of shift to tip the scales. It's time to face the past. Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
What are you?
So there we have it. There's the trailer for the Acolyte. So yeah, no.
Oof.
I think that this thing looks really good just right out the bat. I did want to point that out. I know that it's getting a lot of weird reactions from people, but personally, I don't see what the problem is. I think it looks pretty solid, personally. So yeah, I mean, opening shot alone here. We're just gonna take a look at this really quick here. Let's see. Can you still see the screen, Jose?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna take a look at this like opening shot here.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah, it's a nice shot. Like it doesn't look too much like they relied on the volume or anything like that. So I'm really enjoying that. And then I actually really enjoy the shot too with the lightsaber. I think it looks
Oh yeah.
nice and
And then
uh,
her picking up her knife with the force
yeah,
was really cool.
very cool. So you and I got to see the
Special look
we got
of
an
Acolyte.
extended
Yeah.
view with the fight. Um, Now it almost makes me wonder if somebody gets killed during that fight, and this is the aftermath of that,
Mm.
a little bit. yeah, we'll talk about the extended look at the fight here in a little bit, but I just want to point that out as a theory really quick. Because there is just a lightsaber kind of sitting there and looks like it's
And
gonna
I
be
like how
left
it's
there.
I like how the focus is on the lightsaber and like she's
Yeah.
blurred in the background with her pulling her little knife back up with the force. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
I almost too gotta wonder, like maybe Carrie-Anne Moss like kills Amanda Stenberg, or not? Yeah, Amanda Stenberg in this moment. Like maybe this is toward the end of it, and like
Oh, and that's her picking up that knife with the force.
she picks up the knife, but maybe she drops the saber because maybe she feels like she can no longer be a guardian of peace and justice as she's a killer, right? Like maybe there's a little guilt
True.
going on. I don't know.
I'll say
I'm
because
just
that
throwing
hand,
out theories.
because that hand is white, whereas
Yeah.
Amanda Stenberg is
Right.
colored. So
Yeah.
yeah, ooh,
That's a
ooh,
theory I
ooh,
had.
that's
Like maybe she kills her
ooh,
on
that's a
accident.
good
And
one.
she's like, no, I
Yeah,
can no longer be a
that's a good
Jedi.
one.
She's like sitting with her guilt.
Oof.
So that's a thought I had. Moving forward here. Okay, we got the studio from. Yep. Okay.
I mean, yeah, obviously because it's the same studio. It's all the same studio. Like,
right.
of course, it's gonna be from those studios.
Well, you gotta let people know just in case. Yeah. Anyway.
Cool shot.
Yeah. No. And I was really nervous about the look of Coruscant just because I think there's been a couple of these shows where Coruscant hasn't looked too great. But this really does take me right back into Phantom Menace right here. I think that this shot is fantastic. Personally, moving forward here, what's this actor Lee Jung Jae? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I like this little addition of seeing him training the. I don't know that I would say younglings, but they look older than younglings to me, just from the shot. But they are
No,
younger.
they're definitely older than younglings because younglings are
Yeah.
like 3, 4 years old. These look like they're close. They're like they're teenage years.
Yeah, if you're
already.
judging by like the scene with Yoda and Attack of the Clones, they're younger than this, but they
Or when Anakin attacks them and kills them
right
in
exactly.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It looks like they were younger, but yeah, this is a good shot of Daphne Keene's character anyway. So at least we're getting that, and I thought that this was a nice little moment. Yeah, space looks great. Honestly, like they did a bang up job on that.
hyperspace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hyperspace. Yes, looks really great. Now this was like maybe the one set I wanted to point out. It's not terrible, but this might be the one set that just looked a little cheap to me. If any of them, but that
does,
might be my
yeah,
one
kinda.
issue. Yeah, this one
Yeah.
maybe just looked a little cheap, but I don't want to get like too nitpicky, but like if any of them, it's that one. Yeah, I mean this stuff almost reminds me more of Andor, but it looks like it's all done on
For sure.
location, which makes me very happy. Um, so I'm not quite sure where this is supposed to be, but it really does look like that exact planet that was in Andor, that they go and do the heist on. You know the one I'm talking about, where they
Yeah. No, I do.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what this looks like, but I'm probably wrong on that. I'm sure that this is something completely different. But yeah, no, very nice that they're using location. Got some lightsabers going on with Carrie-Anne Moss finally. So yeah, this is interesting. But this does look like the same location again where that lightsaber was dropped. You know what I mean? And it looked like
Yes.
Carrie-Anne Moss was walking out without her lightsaber. So I don't know. Does she kill Amanda Stenberg? Here and then yeah, who knows? But yeah. Anyway, talking about this fight because we got to see an extended look of it. It looked dope. I mean, to me, I
It did.
thought the choreography was great. The way it was shot
I
was
would say
really good.
Amanda did some great choreo for that.
I agree. Yeah, it looked really, really good. So it got
Man,
me excited.
yeah,
For sure. Seeing it on the
for
big
sure.
screen was a plus. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, it
For
was.
sure. Anyway, yeah, and some of the tone and the set of that too almost reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean a little bit in a weird way. Not in a bad way, but like, yeah, in a good way. I mean, But yeah. Anyway, moving on here. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty dope to watch her use that saber. Um. Oh, I think that's the same location we saw from the beginning here. Yeah. Okay.
That's a really cool shot. Yeah.
Again, the shots look great. Yeah. So
Dude, yeah, cinematography they did not miss.
Yeah.
It seems like.
now I would say that this set looks cheaper, but what I really enjoy is the debris kind of falling on the left here. I think that even though it's kind of a cheaper set, like they're doing a good job, like making it look a little bit more alive.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
actually
For sure.
keeping it a little bit busy, unlike some of the other cheaper sets that we've seen in Disney Plus shows. I think that's been a big issue is they'll walk onto these cheaper sets, but they don't make them busy enough to add anything to them. It's okay
Yeah, I was
to
gonna say
use, yeah.
it like it's the cheaper sets stick out like a sore thumb when they're not
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
Which is why this one looks better than some of the other cheaper sets that we've seen for sure.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I want to point out here too is I think Lee Jung Jae sounds like his line delivery is incredible in this show, and I can't wait to watch his
Oh yeah.
character progress. The one on the right here is the one I'm not sold on yet as an actor. I gotta be honest. Like, maybe I gotta see his lines delivered in context, but it didn't sound great to me. It sounded the way that his lines are being delivered. They sound a little bit too CW to me. I'm looking for, a little bit better than that. But maybe in context, it'll come off much better.
Well,
So
it might be also because he's in a lot of CW shows.
is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, well then there you are. Yeah, I'm not sold. I'm not sold. Hopefully he's yeah. Hopefully he fits the role in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No, fair enough. All right. Moving on though. This stuff I love, by the way. These sets right here, though,
Oh, yeah.
I'm really, really enjoying, and this is a little bit closer to what I wanted to see from this show. I'm really intrigued by what in the hell's going on with this man in white over here. I have no idea.
Yeah, because it seems like he's just taking the death.
Yeah,
Almost.
but all of this, man, this is exactly what I wanted from the show when it first got announced. Like
I'm telling you, Amanda, man, the amount of choreo she went through was absolutely amazing.
yeah, you could tell.
I
It was
can't
a
wait
lot
to
of work.
see her in full effect, man.
Now, there's
Yeah.
another like lightsaber, but it's broken in half. At least that's what it looks like to me. Stuck in the
Yeah.
ground. Not really sure. I love the like flakes though, man, of the debris and that stuff. It just adds again. It's cool details like that make the shots a little bit busier and more alive. That I'm really enjoying. So yeah. This looks like a youngling though that he's passing the saber to.
Well, apparently that's
That's the young
Amanda
Amandala,
Stenberg's
right?
character.
Because that's right. You're
Yeah.
right. So Amandala is a
he said that
youngling,
because
right?
he said that she was my student, so let me be the one to bring her in.
So we got the young Lee Jung Jae and young Amandala Stenberg, right? Which I love this
May's her
like,
character.
addition of that storyline. Like it really gives us an idea of what's actually happened in the series,
Right.
So I'm very happy about that. Yeah, you're right though. That is her young. I don't know what that group is supposed to be though. This group of people.
So it's some group of Jedi's, maybe, or I don't know, maybe not Jedi's, but like some kind of like.
Whoa,
It almost seems what happened.
something fell again. Go figure.
Oh,
Everything's-
it almost seems like they're kind of like some kind of group of like I don't know, maybe like fortune tellers or something. I don't know. They seem kind of weird.
This has me nervous. This is one thing that kind of has me nervous. I want this to not feel off. You know what I mean? Whatever these people are. The one to the right,
Yeah.
though, which is a good sign, it feels like they're trying to fit it into Star Wars because the one on the right here definitely looks like came from Dathomir. So at least there's that,
Yeah, like a night, like almost like a night sister.
Yeah. So at least there's that going on with it. But yeah, no, I love the shots. I mean, it really does seem like Amanda Stenberg is going to give a great performance in this, like stellar. Yeah, planets look great, man. Honestly, no
Oh,
complaints.
wait. I just looked up because Jodie Turner-Smith plays one of the she's that one lady that you saw with the
Yeah.
markings on her forehead. I looked up who her character is, and it says that she is the leader of a coven of witches who value their independence and the
Okay.
preservation of their beliefs and powers.
See, to me,
They
that
lived
sounds
during
neat.
they lived during the High Republic era in 132 BBY.
Okay. Well, it sounds neat
So
to me.
That's what. Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm into it. All right. Yeah, planets look
That planet,
great.
yeah, like you said, the planet looks great, 100%.
Yeah, no, more shots of Lee Jung Jae, a little bit of Daphne Keane. I'm excited to see what Daphne Keane does in the show, 100%.
Yeah, same.
Oh, right there. That was a quick shot we missed. Almost.
There's the coven, coven of witches.
Well, no, this is Vernestra Rowe.
Oh,
So
yeah,
she's
yeah.
carried forward from the High Republic books, and something
Right.
about what she's saying here sounds like a larger plan to tip the scales. I kind of have a theory about, but I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, there's the witches right there. So
Yep.
very neat, actually, kind of when you put it in that context.
No, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I'm interested. Now this was cool. This man's eyes.
Dean
turning-
Charles
Yeah.
Chapman.
You're right.
right there.
His eyes turning dark was neat.
Yeah.
I don't know if they killed him or what. Okay, so yeah, obviously we gotta talk about this. This is Octo. It has to be.
I was about to say, it brings me back to
It's-
it was the last Jedi.
Right, it's Octo. And then you look on the
Yeah,
right
it is.
here. Here's the steps even on the far
Yeah.
right, you can see
Yeah.
the steps.
Has to be. Yeah. Has to
Yeah.
be. There's no other explanation.
Yeah. Oh, and
Even those rocks right there.
well,
like,
even where the ship is out in the distance, I mean, that's where Rey
True.
landed her Falcon. I feel like, or somewhere close to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it looks exactly like where Rey put the Falcon or landed the Falcon.
I'm saying in the next scene, the rocks that like even those rocks look exactly like it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is Octo. And anyway, so we're on Octo, and we heard Vernestra talk about Tip the Scales. I do gotta wonder if Octo gets cursed somehow around this time.
Well, there was that pit that like was of darkness or whatever, so it could be
Well, also,
related to that.
I mean, maybe it's their way of justifying the way Luke was on that planet, which people have an issue with. You know what I mean?
True.
If there's something not right about Octo, maybe we learn that here. You know what I mean? But if this does connect, especially though, you're right though, talking about the pit of darkness or whatever you want to call it, in The Last Jedi, if they want to connect it all the way there, that would be fantastic. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
It makes a lot of sense
100%.
to connect that back because of, this is more Sith based. You know what I mean? We're going to learn more.
Exactly.
About
I mean,
Sith.
you might as well use it. It's there. You might as well connect it to that.
Yeah, if we're going to Octo, then give us more, flesh that out a little bit better. That'd be neat. To connect those two things.
For sure.
100%. So let's see. I love this. This is great. I mean, this is
great stuff.
I mean, again, and I was gonna say visually, aesthetically, this reminds me of Rise of Skywalker, but more of the visual stuff I like about Rise of Skywalker. You know what I mean? Not the stuff I don't like in Rise of Skywalker.
Which is a lot.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, but aesthetically, like the blue hue and all that kind of reminds me of when Finn and Poe are going through that ice and everything on Rise of Skywalker a little bit. All right, we got a Mendel Stenberg, but yeah, no, I guess my point there is it looks up to like movie quality, a lot of these shots, so they look really good. Yep, Mendel Stenberg again. You got some explosions, got some good action. I mean, I wonder if we go back to these really quick. So this looks like almost where the witches were just a little bit ago. That's getting blown up here, and I gotta wonder why, Or I think this is about where the witches were. So I
Maybe that's probably like their base. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with this whole trailer, it feels like there's just a lot of pieces that we haven't connected together, and that's because we don't know how they fit into the story yet. And I think that's a good thing for a trailer to do, is not let you connect all these pieces together or predict everything before the show comes out, or even movie if it was a movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's important to me. Anyway, I love the shot of her running through the forest there, and again, this looks just like where they were at Andor, where they did the heist to me.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what planet this is. Maybe it is the same. It looks exactly the same to me.
It does.
Yeah, Carrie Ann Moss again. Almost looks like, I don't know, she's either mourning a death, because maybe she did kill that person, huh? Am I connecting that?
Or maybe, honestly, from her facial reaction, it almost looks like she saw a vision about the person that she's looking at right now.
Maybe, yeah. That's
and it shocked her.
Yeah, it almost looks like when Cal Kestis is feeling those force echoes, like maybe she's stooping down to do that, or something completely different. We'll see. Yeah. So again, this is Octo. Has to be right here.
Yeah,
so,
has to be.
Yeah, I think the whatever happens in the show, it's all gonna end on Octo. That's kind of how I'm feeling. That's the vibe I'm getting. So we'll see what happens. There's the witches again. I love this shot, by the way. Table turn and then the blaster. Him using the table as a shield, I thought was neat. Lee Jung-jae again. The ship falling through looks like ice, but yeah, I'm sure we'll get more explanation on that later. This is cool. Daphne Keane going up again. Yeah. See, it makes it feel like it has stakes when you see stuff like that. Knife being held to the neck and all that. Anyway.
Oh yeah, this scene was crazy.
And then this is nuts. We get our first look at a Sith in the show, which is, they're going like scary with it, man. I'm loving that. Look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it honestly, it looks like Alien to me almost.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Very creepy, but I'm here for it, honestly.
Well, almost like
I mean,
parts of this looks.
well,
The back
it kind
looks
of
like
it kind of
yeah.
it kind of also looks a little bit like the monster from Death Note, the
Mhm.
anime,
Gotcha. I would say
which is nice and creepy.
the back of the helmet is very reminiscent of Kylo Ren's helmet. And we know
True.
Kylo Ren is obsessed with Sith. You know what I mean? Was this part of why he modeled his helmet after, or what he modeled his helmet after? I don't know. You know, maybe the Sith is somebody he looked up to. You know, um, we'll see. Oh, look at that shot. That's neat.
Yeah, crazy.
I'm loving every minute of that. Oh, let me point out too before we just end it here. Lightsabers, really quick here. Hang on. Oop, let me go back to that. Lightsaber. Oops, stop it. Okay, here we go. Lightsabers, still looking a little fat to me, but
Yeah,
let me.
better than from the.
Looks better than Kenobi.
I was about to say it does look better than Kenobi for sure.
And I would even point out too, I think the difference that the reason I'm liking these a little bit more is because it just looks like it's a stylistic choice that they're fat, not that the prop is fat, or too fat necessarily. Because I mean, especially I'll point this out here. When you see the Sith Knight, you could see
His is
almost
pretty
like you can see
kind of
like
thin, to be honest.
well, you can see the ripples in it, which I love. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that takes me back to like the way they looked in like Force Awakens. I thought the lightsabers looked great in Force Awakens and Last Jedi and
right.
the sequel trilogy lightsabers. Say what you want about the movies, the sabers look great. And the fact that they were fatter was more of a stylistic thing, you know what I mean? In those anyway.
Right.
And it looks like they're just adding detail to them, which I'm loving that. So, yeah, very cool. Anyway, so yeah, that's the end of the trailer, and that's our breakdown of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Well, one thing that wasn't shown in the trailer that I'm actually looking forward to is Jonas Sotoma's character, the
Yeah,
Wookiee Jedi.
yeah, we're getting a Wookiee Jedi, which yeah they didn't reveal yet.
Mm,
That'll be neat to watch.
yeah.
So yeah, definitely looking forward to that myself. But yeah, man, I think the show it's looking great. So I'm not mad about
No,
it
for
at
sure.
all. It looks very, very good. So I'm very excited about it. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there too. Yeah, man, the longer look we got at Phantom Menace, man, was awesome. I mean,
Oh,
I
dude, it
I
was
thought that
amazing.
fight
It got me.
was
It honestly made me more stoked for this show than I already am.
yeah.
Honestly, it looks. I'm telling you, the choreo in that scene alone was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I agree. So if you guys didn't see the extended scene that was shown at the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary yet, I'm not telling you to go see Phantom Menace for it, but what I will say is if you don't have faith in it yet, that scene was really good. I mean, it looks like everything is right with it, and yeah, I mean, I'm holding out hope, man. I hope that this hits. I really hope that this hits. But we had a couple other things that happened within the recent days here. Tales of the Empire. Um, So yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it personally. Um, it took us through Barris Offee, and Morgan Elsbeth's stories and how they were integrated into the Empire. Yes, it included Thrawn as well, as you know from the trailers. I enjoyed Tales of the Empire, man. I thought it was pretty good, man. I don't know what
Oh,
you
I
think.
absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
Honestly loved all 6 episodes. The 3 for Morgan Elsbeth and the
yeah,
3 for Barris Offee. Honestly, like
I liked it.
it, I love how we're getting so much more Sith based stuff now. We're like kind of going veering away from the Jedi and like light side heavy stuff and coming now into this era of like Sith based stuff. I'm loving it honestly because the more and more that I read like my Star Wars stuff, the more and more I'm loving the Sith more than the Jedi's in the light side.
Yeah,
For some reason, like right now I'm reading the Thrawn trilogy and I'm having like an absolute blast with it. It's incredible and I'm loving it so much. And again, I don't think we've delved too deep into the Sith side as much as we should be. And so I'm glad that we're now in this like Sith era in Star Wars right
getting
now. And
there.
so it tells the Empire. It was just honestly so great. And it was great to see, Grievous for the little time that he was in
Yeah,
one
he
of the
was really good in
episodes.
that episode. Yeah,
Um, but man, the fact that they brought back both of the actors for, Grand Admiral Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth was great to come and voice in the 3 episodes
Yeah.
of Tales of the Empire.
And Barris as well. I
Um,
mean,
I,
Barris is the same actors.
and Barris, right, of
Yeah.
course, yeah. So and yeah, and Barris' stuff, man, it was. I like how it just came around full circle for her and Lynn, the fourth
I agree.
sister.
Yeah.
And honestly, just hearing Vader's breathing again just gave me like
It's
chills, man.
always
It
cool
was
to see him.
it was oh, dude, it was amazing, honestly. And yeah, I just like how I loved all 6 episodes, and I just had a blast watching all of them.
Yeah.
It was great. It was honestly a great time, and seeing the planet that we obviously saw in the live action Mandalorian season 2 when Ahsoka showed up to attack Morgan Elsbeth was pretty cool. Seeing that one in this Tales of the Empire as well. Thought it was really cool seeing that planet again. Yeah, it was just honestly really cool what they did with this.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I think it was definitely a downgrade from Tales of the Empire, though. You know, Filoni kind of let go of the reins on this one, and I was almost kind of missing him. I'm not gonna lie, like his touch on it was missing a little bit, and but I did like it. I gotta say, like the stories were good to watch. I mean, for something that's 6 shorts, yeah. I mean, I was really happy to a degree. I thought it was very poetic where Barris ended up going at the end there, like especially. Yeah, more I thought about it, I was kind of like I had to think more about Barris's storyline. It was more of a challenge for the audience, you know what I mean? Because you really had to think about that story, and I think I loved that one a little bit more than I liked Morgan's. And at first, I was
No,
kind
for
of,
sure.
my initial reaction was like, oh, Morgan's was better than Barris's. Her story was better than Barris's, but like it is a story that you have to like let simmer for a minute, you know, with Barris's. And I think
The other reason why too is because we've already seen Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth and Ahsoka and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that's why I feel like, and I didn't really know much about Barriss Offee and her story and stuff like that. So I think hers resonated a lot more with me just
Yeah.
because I didn't really know much. I didn't know much about her and her story.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. Morgan's was really really cool as well.
Yeah.
But I like Barriss Offee's story more. in
Agreed.
this, especially because hers kind of came more full circle.
I agree.
than Morgan's.
I agree.
So I think that's why it kind of hit more at the heartstrings for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Yeah.
one thing I wanted to say too is that I don't get why so many people are just going at this, but the fact that the one thing that people are griping on with the entire Tales of the Empire is the fact that there's a queer Jedi in Tales
Yeah.
of the Empire.
Well, we don't
I don't
talk about those people here.
yeah,
The ones that
I know,
complain about
but
these things.
I know, but I'm just saying it's like because people gripe, and I don't get why that has to be the one thing that they gripe about. It's dumb.
Well,
honestly.
that's the way of the world. Yeah, no, but we're not going to give them any light here. Those people that complain about that is what it is. So, enjoy it for what it is. Anyway, it's nothing to do with the narrative. It's irrelevant. I mean, you just
Yeah.
it is. You know what I mean? It's irrelevant to the narrative. You're missing a whole great
For sure.
story because of something that you're hung up on. Yeah, I don't understand it either. I don't understand it either. Yeah, man. Anyway, I don't want to shed light on those people, but that complain about that type of thing. But anyway, for me, what I will say though is yes, I still think that this was very good. It was I enjoyed that within the Morgan stuff. You know, now we'll go into Ahsoka, understanding that a little bit better that first season anyway, and understanding what she went through, which is awesome. It was a good addition, and
It was also kind of like a prequel to when we first was introduced to her in Mandalorian season 2,
right
when she met up with Ahsoka on that planet.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I liked how it kind of was a prequel to that. So it kind of showed us how where Morgan Elsbeth where she started and how she kind of how we are now with her from Mandalorian season 2 all the way to Ahsoka. It was pretty cool to have that, to tell that kind of story. It's like we have a whole story now. You can watch the first 3 seasons of Tales of the Empire, then watch that season 2 of Mandalorian, and then watch Ahsoka season 1, and it's all kind of just like one continuous story in a sense.
Yeah, and I was going to point out too, because they brought first of all, Corvus looked great because they redesigned it
Oh yeah.
for into animation form. But they brought the scores back for both Mandalorian season 2 and Ahsoka, and I was happy to hear them both
Mm-hmm.
come back into this show. Yeah, so that was really neat. I really enjoyed that as well. Yeah, I mean, Barris, I think like affected me more though by the end of it. You know
Oh
what I
no.
mean? Like I
It's,
think
it's
there was
because like
something emotionally effective about Barris's.
I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's because the three episodes for her. Again, I've said it. I'll say it again. It's more full circle than because like Morgan's three episodes are more of
Yeah.
like I said a prequel to um Mandalorian season 2 and Ahsoka the Ahsoka season 1, whereas Barris's are just like a full circle three episodes that stand alone.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it hit better, hit more, and why I just preferred hers, because of where she started and where she ended up, and
Yeah.
her relationship with the Lynn, the fourth sister. It just kind of came around full circle.
I guess it's that argument of do you prefer a sequel or a prequel? You know, like, and I think for
True.
myself, I do prefer a sequel over a prequel usually. You know what I
Same.
mean?
Yeah.
In most
Yeah.
cases,
For sure.
and so for this, yeah, I really did enjoy the. Although that hasn't
Yeah.
necessarily always been the case for Star Wars per se, like I genuinely, in this case, I do prefer the sequel storyline of Barris, because this is the aftermath of Barris as opposed to Morgan. We're leading up to something that's already happened. So, yeah, I really, yeah, for me, man, it was just really good. You know what I mean? That's the best thing I could say
It
about it. It
was.
was just
It
really
was.
solid all around. Like there's no complaints, and it's like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, not major complaints other than like I was missing just that extra Filoni touch that I think he had in the Tales of the Jedi. I do think this was a slight downgrade from Jedi, but all right, it's fine. I don't think it was handled poorly or anything like that either. At the same time, like so don't take me the wrong way. Like we're sitting in a really again, man. Like I think that this year has gotten us in a really good spot with Star Wars so far, and like that's awesome.
Specifically with the Siths, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's part of why it is better, this year because that we have been diving more into. I think a lot of the things that we've been waiting to dive into. So I'm hoping that Acolyte, just continues the track here,
Oh,
seeing as how that is the
yeah.
next project now. So it needs to deliver. But I will also, like we could transition now into the Bad Batch though, because the finale aired,
Ooh.
and we could just talk very openly about this.
Bro, don't make me cry. You're about to make me cry, man. Just thinking back to that episode, man. Man.
Um. Yeah, you know me, man. I will at least say this about the episode. I finished it, and then I remembered I bought that. Remember that last convention I went to? I bought that Hunter and Omega
Mm.
print, and it was hanging on my wall, and I was like, "Gosh, dang it! Why? Why did I buy that? Because now I got to look at that." Bro, it was amazing. This is
I'll say this right now. I
yeah.
think the best episode of anything animated from Star Wars.
I think that this is the
I'm gonna
best
put that.
season of any Star Wars television season.
And I think this is the best. I think this is the best episode. I think the finale is the best episode of anything animated from Star Wars. I think.
I don't know if I could say that. It's really hard to put it there, and that's only because I think the whole
Or
season
at least
had
one
to
of.
come together.
Put
It's
it
amongst them. I'll give you that.
as
It's
one of.
amongst them for
Yeah.
sure. But I also think it was the culmination of this whole season that really made it that way. You know what
This
I mean?
this
And
is definitely this has been the best season of animated
Yeah.
Star Wars for sure. Like, oh my
it's the
goodness,
best
man, this
season of
season
Star
had.
Wars, I think. Period. Like I genuinely believe that. Like I think
Oh
this,
wow!
yeah,
Even live action.
yeah, I
Oh,
put it
crazy.
above Andor
Okay.
this season in particular. Like I think Andor's a better show.
No, I definitely.
Because so far it's been consistently a better show, but if I'm taking a single season of anything Star Wars TV, it's this, and I put it above all of them.
Well, Andor's only had one season, but yeah,
That-
I guess that's why.
That's what I mean.
Gotta wait-
It's
gotta wait for-
consistently
gotta
better
wait-
so
gotta-
far.
Gotta wait for season 2.
That's what I
and
mean.
Then we can.
Andor's still a consistently better show. Oh, because week to week with that entire show so far,
True.
I've had a better
Yeah.
time. But if I'm going to rank this in terms of a season of television, it goes above Andor's season 1. Like
This has been, man, yeah, this season literally from first episode to last, no flaws, no gripes, nothing, man. This was just perfection from beginning
agree.
to end in this
I
season,
agree.
man. It was, and the amount of times I'm gonna be rewatching that season, man. It was just
Yeah.
so many ups and downs,
Oh.
and keeping you on the edge of your seat, and so many scenes that make you cry and make you laugh and make you feel all different kinds of emotions.
Yeah.
Man, what a season,
Yeah.
man. I can't give this season enough praise, man. It's just
Well, my one issue, not even issue, my one issue, yes, issue, but not anymore. My one issue going in, or in the middle of the season, was the CX droid plotline. But they brought that back around here. The CX Trooper. I'm sorry, not droid.
yeah,
The CX Trooper. But they bring it back around, so it's no longer an issue. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, okay,
exactly,
how's that going
right.
to come back? And then they brought it back.
And they did it perfectly too, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The way they brought it back. And I think that waiting until the end was perfect. I think you bring them in too early and have them for too many episodes doesn't play as well as it did in the finale.
Right.
It just played so perfectly. And honestly, the connection that Omega builds with the kids is absolutely incredible. Honestly,
I agree.
And I blank on her name, but the doctor that ends up turning on the bad guys.
Hemlock.
Forget her name.
No.
Hemlock. No, not Hemlock. The other one. I forget her name.
Oh, her sister?
But yeah.
What is her name?
Oh, Nala Se. That's who it is.
You're thinking of Nala Se?
No,
Oh, you're thinking
wait,
of Nala Se.
No, not Nala Se. Oh my God. The
Omega's
one with the
sister, right?
glasses.
Emery.
Yeah, I forget-
Emery.
Emery. That's
Emery.
the one. Emery.
Yeah, Omega's sister
Yeah,
is Emery.
she was great in that finale as well. The way she
I agree.
just decided to help. No, and also Nala Se, sacrificing herself to make sure that all those samples and stuff don't get out to the
Yes,
to the
yes,
Empire
yes.
was great.
Yeah, Nala Se's sacrifice was incredible. I'm
That
sad
made me
to see her
cry. I can't
go.
lie to you.
Yeah, sad to see her go.
That made me cry.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sad to see her
And-
go, and yeah.
Oh my God, seeing Tarkin in this was incredible as well in the finale.
Yeah.
It was great.
I actually thought he was going to get there before they were able to leave the planet or leave Tantus. I thought Tarkin was going to arrive first,
And
and,
then
they
him-
weren't going to
and
be
then-
able to get out.
And then him uttering the words of deciding to put all the money into that new operation got
Yeah.
me like, oh shoot.
I'm still curious about all that. Like, if I had a problem, and I don't, but like, it's more of a Star Wars lore problem. It's a frustration, more or less. Like, come on, like, just show us like what. Like tie it back into those sequels, man. Fix them up, man. And then we never get to see what's in that tank, And at the end of the day, like, it blows up. We never get to see what's in it, and it's like, just tie it back in and fix them. But I'm not putting that pressure on this show because this show did everything it needed to do. I think that's an overall Star Wars problem that we've had, is they keep trying to reference to those sequels, but they're never going to show us, like, explicitly. Like,
Yeah, true.
I think that's an overall thing where they, they have
But-
this opportunity to fix them, but they don't. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
I think that scene also, when Hemlock had Omega in the handcuffs and Crosshair's got his gun there, aiming it to
Yeah,
and
and
that whole scene there.
Hunter, she knows what to do. That was an
Yeah,
incredible line. That
dude,
one line
that
just
scene-
impacted that scene so much. Yeah,
It gave me chills. It gave me
Yeah,
chills.
no,
I don't
for
know,
sure.
But you just saying that then
yeah.
had me thinking about it and gave
Yeah.
me chills. I was like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, the animation
And
with
then
the rain and all of that, man.
Man.
was incredible.
And then the last scene, seeing them all, her grown up and Hunter all like looking old with his man
Yeah.
bun and stuff was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, Hunter
her
was
looking so much older now. Like Omega looking so much older.
I thought it was so poetic to end on those two, because we kind of started with those two when you think about it, mostly.
Yeah.
Like, so I thought it was more poetic to end with those two. And I'm happy they did it that way, because originally it started fading to black with all of them sitting there on Pabu, and I was sitting there like, I need a little more. Come on, don't end there. And then they give me that little bit more, and then it was the exact little bit more that I needed, and not exactly what I was expecting necessarily, but just beautiful and emotional. And yeah, definitely, this is the first like Star Wars thing, I would say. This is why I put it above just even Andor in terms of this season of Star Wars, because it did end on an emotional note, and it pulled emotions out of me that Andor did not. Well, I love
Yeah, and
Andor, and there
I'm
were
not gonna lie,
emotional
it was-
spots, but not in the way that this was. Yeah.
It was the perfect series finale.
Yeah.
Like the perfect ending to the whole Bad Batch show.
Yeah. Yeah.
It did not leave with any cliffhangers or and want me wanting any more with them.
Yeah,
Like if we do ever see them, maybe in the future in like a cameo or something for like a little bit, obviously wouldn't mind it. But like I liked how their story ended. It was a perfect ending to the Bad Batch being able to finally just retire and live on Pabu together um,
yeah, yeah.
as a happy family.
If they dive into more rebellion stuff, I mean, it'd probably be great to see like Omega pop up, in some
As
form.
a pilot, yeah.
Right,
As a pilot, yeah, for
yeah. So
sure.
that would be cool. I mean, she doesn't have to be like a big part of the universe moving forward, but it'd be neat. You have somebody you can incorporate now that would get fans excited for sure,
Exactly.
because at
Oh,
least
for
the
sure.
fans that watch the show, so it'd be a nice little Easter egg for them. And yeah, if you're oh my gosh, guys, I can't hype the season up enough. It was just incredible with this finale and
I don't think
just
either of us could.
no, it's truly perfect. I mean, it really is the perfect season of Star Wars that I've been waiting on. And
I also just
um,
want to honestly want to give I want to give flowers to D. Bradley Baker. Man, did phenomenal voicing
yes,
the
yes,
entire Bad Batch. Man, oh my god, he has got a talent. Let me tell you,
I
he is incredible.
I'd argue that those final moments with Omega is probably the best voice performance work he's done. Because
Oh,
uh, the way he delivers the lines is what gives you the emotion in a lot of ways. Because of
and honestly, Michelle Ang as well as Omega.
yes, yes. Agreed.
My goodness, man.
The way he delivers those lines, like I don't want to try to say this without tearing up, but like, you're our child, Omega. Like that was just like, yeah, it was so incredible. You know what I mean? And or like
It's
when
like you
he,
want me to cry. It's
I
like you want me
know,
to cry, bro.
he's like, but yeah, or even when he was like, like I'm not ready. You know what I mean? Like, oh gosh, those things were yeah, man. So
That's
many, so many emotions flew over me during those moments, and gosh, I can't speak enough about the score either, because the score of the season
oh,
was incredible. It's the best that they've done, and yeah, man, I'm blown away, and I think it is gonna make me go back and watch the first two seasons, and maybe even enjoy those with more appreciation, just knowing where it's all leading to.
I'm just
You
gonna
know?
at this point I'm gonna just binge all three seasons.
Yeah,
Honestly, might as well. Like they're there.
like if
Honestly, also want to give props to Jimmy Simpson for voicing Hemlock. He made me fear that guy
yeah,
so much.
yeah,
Like I did not think that I could
he
fear a
was
sign
awesome.
like a
Yeah.
dude as much as I feared that guy because of his voice. It
His voice
was
work was
absolutely
incredible. Yeah,
incredible.
I mean, too
I was
bad he had to
yeah.
take that terrible fall there, but it's just at the end. But yeah, man, I mean, seriously, like, yeah, incredible voice work, and like, if you'd have told me toward the beginning of the show that this was going to be a series that's going to end on a happy note and it's going to pull the emotions out of you, I would have called you crazy, because that's not what I thought the show was going to be from the beginning,
Yeah,
and that
definitely not.
that could have affected my viewing thinking back on it for the first two seasons of it, because I didn't know where it was all going and leading to. And I think that is one of the most powerful things this finale did, is it makes me want to go back and watch the first two seasons again. Or just watch them all again in a binge, and,
Yeah,
and, and see if this
watch
is
him in a binge. Yeah.
it changes it, because it probably will, just knowing where we're going with everything, and just, yeah, man, you're right. And Michelle Ang as Omega, I did not expect to fall in love with that character the way that I did. And yeah, this season really did it for me.
I can't
Um,
lie to you. I want to meet Michelle Lang and D. Bradley Baker,
oh, I would
man.
love
I
to,
really do.
man.
I just
Yeah,
want,
if they're
man,
if they're
just
coming
tell
to
him
any
how much
conventions
this,
soon, yeah,
like, just want to tell him how much this final season just impacted me as a Star Wars
yeah,
fan, man. They just, oh,
it really was incredible. Yeah, this is peak Star Wars to me, and
and you could tell like D. Bradley Baker, like those Bad Batch characters are like his kids. You know, he
yeah,
just loves them as much as we do. Like you can
yeah,
tell because like you said, the voice work that he did with them was
yeah.
absolutely incredible, and like the chemistry that he has with Michelle Ang, with Omega's character was incredible. You could just tell that they just love working together and loved working with each other in these three seasons of the Bad Batch.
I mean, yeah, I mean, hopefully, oh, excuse me, the sex celebration, we get a panel looking back at the Bad Batch, because I would love to
Oh,
see
we definitely
that,
should.
and yeah, and we should, and I would love to see that and hear, it's like, because I would love to hear, like, I want to know actually, like, how far in advance they had this all planned out, the ending and everything, and if they always knew where it was going and all that, because it really just, oh my gosh, it was so impactful. I mean, again, I hats off to Filoni and Jennifer Corbett for creating the show and making it work the way they did. And I tell people all the time too, because it's like I remember the complaints coming in after the first season, and people being like, "Oh, it's not that great." Like during the first season, I was like, "Yeah, but watch what Filoni does," because like I knew people that were coming in new to it because Mandalorian had been so big, and they were like, "Oh, well, we trust Dave Filoni now, so we're gonna check out his animated stuff now." And they started with Bad Batch and dropped out sadly because it's like if they'd stuck with it, they could have seen like the magic that Filoni truly brings to his projects because he has this way of like because I mean not a lot of people like the first two episodes or two seasons of Clone Wars either when you think about it, and he just brought that all, you know what I mean, and it just gets better as it goes.
Yeah, because that final season of the Clone Wars was crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And speaking of Clone Wars, the
Yeah.
Zillo Beast came back, and
Oh, dude, it was sick to see that thing just like wreak havoc on the
this
on the bad guys.
damn Dave Filoni puts this little minor arc in Clone Wars Season 2 about the Zillo Beast. You don't think it's going to mean anything, and then here it is at the end of Bad Batch means something. It's like, what? Oh my gosh, those little brilliant nuggets he plants, and he's got this whole like library from the Clone Wars of things that he can just bring back around at any point in time. It's like it's insane.
It seems like Dave Filoni, there's something kind of repetitive with him in final seasons of shows that he does. Like it just seems like the final seasons are always like his best of his
Yeah.
animated shows for some reason. Which, hey, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll take it because this season was incredible. And honestly, just want to say it was great hearing Ian McDiarmid again as Emperor Palpatine. It was incredible just for that little bit that he was in there. It's obviously his voice has done so much for the Star Wars world in terms of voicing that iconic Emperor Palpatine, and it was great hearing him again in this final season.
Yeah, no,
And
for sure.
honestly, can't wait to see what he does in the future for Star Wars if he does anything else.
Yeah, I mean, if everything else for the rest of this year sucks, if Skeleton Crew's bad and Outlaws is bad and what Acolyte's bad, I'm just gonna be grateful.
You say what? Do you think what the game Outlaws?
I'm just saying if, like hypothetically, like I'm still gonna be grateful we got this, out of the year, for sure.
Yeah, if that stuff's bad, at least we can come back and watch season 3 of The Bad Batch.
Yeah, which
We have that
I
at
don't
least.
personally think because of the track that they've been on. I mean, everything from Ahsoka and on has been to me pretty
Oh
stellar.
no, yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're getting back to it, and that's it's really interesting when you look at the overall scope of it because like I had heard a rumor a long time ago like that things were kind of rough in the Chapek era, for Lucasfilm, and they did not get to do a lot of the things that they were wanting to do, and that they are.
I mean, it looked like it.
And that they were course correcting, and I heard starting with Ahsoka, and that has lined up so far for me. I know some people weren't happy with Ahsoka, but for me, it's lined up. Like I think Ahsoka and then on has been, pretty awesome.
It has.
And Star Wars
Because they're back on track.
it's really crazy. Like I want to say Star Wars is back, I really do, but like then again I've said that before and then it wasn't back, So I do want to wait for some more live action stuff to see if I can like plant that back in the ground and say like
Yeah, like with the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew and all this other live action stuff coming.
Yeah, I mean, if Acolyte hits, though, I'm gonna be the one to say it. Star Wars is back, folks. I mean, because at least for me, because I've been one happy camper over here with all of these things. Like I said, I mean, even though Tales of the Empire was a little bit of a downgrade, it wasn't bad, not by any sense of the or stretch of the imagination. Like that whole series was really good. So yeah, everything is working right now. It's feeling really good. I feel great being a Star Wars fan right now, and yeah, it's been a while since I've felt that way as a Star Wars fan.
Same.
At least have felt like this influx of consistently great things, kind of coming in and just really taking over. So yeah, like I said, everything from Ahsoka, so on and so forth has been pretty kosher. So let's hope we stay on that
For sure.
track for sure.
That's for sure.
And like, let's hope if like one thing is just like it falls a little short, that like the thing after that is like it just picks it right back up. You know what I mean? Like, let's say Acolyte's not good. Like, let's hope Outlaws is like the most stellar game ever, and then Skeleton Crew's good. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's hope that
True.
we at
Yeah.
least like. I mean, the one thing that stumbled this year was obviously the Battlefront, thing. The re-release.
Yeah.
But like, how much do we put that on Lucasfilm? I don't know. It was Asper Media's re-release, so I don't know how much I really blame Lucasfilm for the Battlefront situation. And it's getting better, by the way. They are throwing out those updates and improving it. But anyway,
Right.
yeah, the re-release of Battlefront aside, it's been a consistent year. You know what I mean? I think everything has just been really working, man. Really working. I think starting this year with Dark Empire was a very smart, not Dark Empire, Dark Forces.
Dark Forces.
Yeah, it was such a smart move, man, because they really got me in that mood for Star Wars again, and have just continued on the path, man. That's another thing too, man. Like I think the vibe of this show, Bad Batch, is like just the vibe I've been looking for, man, from Star Wars. Like it lines in back with the feelings I get when I play Dark Forces and things, and you know what I mean. It's that level of Star Wars that I love. So I'm just couldn't be happier, man. I don't know, man. Phantom Menace
I feel
re-release
that
was
for
good,
sure.
and you know what I mean. Like I had a great time watching Phantom Menace in the theater. Um,
Yeah, I
had-
was gonna say that like the planets and like the space looked like it looked like it was remastered because it looked so beautiful those planet. I don't know if that's how they looked in the original because they looked incredible
yeah,
upon watching it to the 25th anniversary. Obviously, um, you know, when they were actually in the planets and stuff, you could tell that it was
uh,
still from like the kind of original release, but
yeah,
the planets and stuff and the stuff in space look specifically honestly for me the planets I don't know why they just looked so like stellar and like remastered but
yeah.
obviously everything else did still look like from the original.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're going to have a longer discussion on this, you and I, Phantom Menace in general, because I want to dive into the movie itself. But talking about the experience of seeing it again, yeah, to me, it felt exactly how it felt when I saw it the first time as a kid, except I just have a new appreciation for it now. That's the only difference, I was like, I do. And I did put out a review. So thank you, everybody, by the way, because it's gotten a lot of support, that review. And a lot of you guys have went and checked out my revisit of the Phantom Menace. We've been, you guys have been very generous on that, so thank you. That means a lot. I love seeing it, and I love the viewership on that. So thank you so much. I didn't think that was gonna do shit, and
Oh wow.
yeah, you
Yeah, I'm
guys
looking at
really.
it right now. That's crazy.
You guys
Yeah.
came through for me on that because I put a lot of work into that. So thank you so much. That was 4 hours of editing, that 20-minute video. So yeah,
Oh.
it took a little while to do that one. So thank you. It really does mean a lot when I put that kind of work in and I get some kind of result or love for it. So appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, seeing it again though, sorry, it was very very fun, and it did take me right back, and it felt exactly the way it did when I saw it as a kid, except just different because my newfound love and for it, or appreciation for it. I love what it does for me, or not necessarily the film itself. I mean, the film itself, I mean, I saw it with Josh, and we did a lot of laughing throughout it. I won't lie to you, at certain areas and things of that nature. Not spots you're supposed to laugh at necessarily, but but I still love what it does in terms of just bringing me back to that time. And then man, you really almost every single time you watch that movie, you really almost forget how good that fucking mall fight is. Because once you're there
Oh,
again, and especially seeing that in the movie theater again was really, really neat. So,
no,
oh,
for sure it was.
stellar stuff.
And honestly, what gave me the goosebumps was as soon as the Duel of the Fates score just started playing, I was like, oh, dude, hearing it in theaters was just like I'm glad I got to see it because I've only seen besides this one now. I think I've only seen um, Empire and Return in theaters. I think. So getting to see Phantom Menace in theaters because I'd never got to do that because this movie came out before I was born.
Yeah.
Um, was really cool, and I just hope that I get to watch all the other ones in theaters as well because I never got to see any of these in theaters because I was too young. And I guess it wasn't because I was too young. It's just because when these movies were released, I was living in a city that didn't have a movie theater.
Yeah,
So I had to rent all of these movies in VHS and watch them and DVD. So
yeah.
um, getting to watch them in the theater is cool because it's a whole different experience, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I reckon it's kind of cool that we're almost going to have a Star Wars movie in the theater every year until we have a new Star Wars movie in the theater because next year I feel like they're going to
True.
do Force Awakens for the 10th anniversary, I would reckon. And then yeah, last year we had Return of the Jedi, which was cool. You know, so it's always just cool to see a Star Wars in a theater, regardless of what it is.
Right.
That feeling alone was nice enough, and then being able to just sit through a movie that I haven't seen in a movie theater since I was like 6 years old. You know, so that was really just neat. The neat part of it, I guess, for me. And yeah, man, it was really, really awesome. So happy that I was able to watch it. And yeah, man. But like I said, I told the audience in my review we'll do a longer version of a Phantom Menace discussion this month. So we'll make sure that's coming up. Next week, well, there will be a couple reviews coming just from me. I do want to do a video on Tales and Bad Batch season 3, so I'll probably put those out as well, just for myself, because I know you guys like the Star Wars, just me doing the editorial type videos on those. And then we're going to furthermore, finally this month we're gonna get to Ahsoka. Like you and I have to discuss Ahsoka finally, and I have to do a video on that as well. So we will have a very long discussion about Ahsoka because the thank you strikes we missed those. So we missed that. So yeah, long discussion on Ahsoka, and yeah, look forward to all that. I just want to make this the month of Star Wars for the most part, as best as we can. We also got good stuff, great summer movies coming too on top of that. So we'll be able to discuss
Right.
those. I'm excited to get back to my local drive-in this weekend to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So that should be a lot of fun.
Mm.
So
Yeah, you're gonna
anyway,
enjoy that one for sure.
yeah, no, I hope it's great. I've heard it's great, and I hope it's great.
It is.
Anyway, for the audience, thank you guys for joining. I missed all of you. We missed all of you. So thank you for coming back and checking us out again. It's always a pleasure to have you, and thank you for having us as well in your homes. So
Yep, of
or your
course.
cars or wherever you're,
Your
checking us out
car.
at.
Yeah,
Who
wherever you're
knows?
listening.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Cars, trucks, planes, wherever, hotels. But yeah, no, listen, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Jogs. Sorry, I'm done. But thank you so much for joining this episode of Movie Mornings. And yeah, please make sure you go follow us. It's at the Extract Media pages, at Extract Media blog, across Twitter and Instagram. And Jose, where can people find you before we go?
You guys can find me on all socials at Type 1 Latino, all lowercase, all together, and also on YouTube at Type 1 Latino Kingdom. I do a lot of cool content over there, so if you want to check me out, go subscribe. Appreciate it.
Yeah, if you want to see him do more wacky things with his tongue, please come do that. Yeah, anyway, I'm Dom Martino. You guys can find me on Twitter at Dom_Martino_ and on Instagram, Dom_Martino_ official. Thank you so much for joining again. It's been another episode of Movie Mornings. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share us with your friends, hit the bell for notifications. Do all of that. Tell your friends. I think I already said that part, but I need to get a new cord for this mic. That'll happen hopefully before the next episode airs. And thank you again. I really appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys later.
See ya.